Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Tim Vixay here with my crippled friend. This is episode number 9, and we are in the studio with one of my buddies, Mr. Dan Watts. Dan is a United States Marine Corps veteran, paraplegic, and he's also a avid hunter who just got back from a little spring bear hunting out here in Oregon. What's going on, man?
Not much. Wishing I was still in the woods.
Yeah, dude. We didn't really get to talk much about that hunt that you just got on.
Well, as you know, like the season is the season, so went out on 2 different hunts. Trying to fill my tag. I obviously came back empty-handed, but nonetheless had a good time.
Yeah.
Went out with our friend Jeff DeLeon.
Shout out to Jeff, who's also a paraplegic,
good guy,
Navy veteran as well.
avid hunter. We went out outside of Grants Pass, trying to get spring bear back at the beginning of April, and then didn't see nothing. I saw deer, saw turkey. No bear though.
Did you guys get on the trail of anything?
No, I've talked to some other my hunting buddies as well who are out, in other parts of the western side, southwest side of Oregon, and same thing. Like, not a lot of people have been seeing bear, at least from I heard. That's from people I talked to. I'm not a part of any Facebook or communities or nothing. I know I've seen some pictures of people, opening weekend got some big old bears, but from, I guess, word of mouth, just what I've heard is that bears are pretty quiet right now. And I just got back too last week, again, going back out. I'm not going to say the exact location because it's some of my family's property, but again, it was in Southwest Oregon and on their ranch. And same thing, there were signs of bear. They were telling me they had some linemen out there working on their power lines, and they saw several bear on their property, but I was out there, didn't see nothing. I was out there for about 4 days. And nonetheless, I can't say I'm the most experienced hunter. I've hunted on and off of growing up as a kid, with my father. My father took me out in the woods, and I'm just now getting back into hunting, as a cripple, learning how to the difficulties of being in a wheelchair, how to hunt.
Yeah.
And so
Well,
that's a whole nother ballpark, excuse me, because it's like hunting is hunting, but it's like now I'm in a wheelchair and I can't walk.
Yeah.
So like looking at the different methods.
Hunting's already difficult enough, with your legs.
Right.
And then now to have to try to do it, without the use of your legs, like stalking an animal is a lot harder. And
right. There's all kinds of different things that come up. So, but back to the bears, my cousin, I'll call him my uncle because that's kind of what he is to me. My uncle, he was telling me on their place, he's like, you do see signs of bears here and there. And, every year varies depending how the winter was and stuff. But didn't see any kind of bear this spring, but he always tells me, he's like, come back in fall, you will see bear everywhere.
Yeah.
And so I already have my fall bear tag.
Yeah, I put in for mine.
And I'll be going out again. But as far as this month goes, I don't have any plans to get out this week. I plan, taking my wife out to the beach, so I won't be able to go back in the woods looking for bear this week because the season's over here at the end of May.
Yeah, I was thinking I was going to be able to join you guys for that hunt back in April. It was just I had just gotten back from Illinois, and I wasn't able to get my shit together in time because the way you and Jeff did it, you guys did it just pretty much bare bones. You guys actually camped out in the woods, right?
Right, yeah. We did it just kind of like I used to do it if I was able-bodied. You just, make sure you have the, your crippled gear you need, your commode chair, whatever medical supplies you need, dealing with it. But other than that, basic camping, your tent, your sleeping bag. I sleep on a cot, your camp stove, bring
Yeah,
a
let's
cooler full of food.
let's just get into that. Like, just let's take the hunting element out of it alone, but how was
Just like
camping out in the woods? Like what piece of gear would you say was like the lifesaver that was just vital to have that made crippled camping just easier?
That's a hard one. Because to be honest, like I love camping too, just as much as I like to hunt. I just like being in the outdoors, and so the camping itself is not hard. Again, it's the biggest thing is like if we look at being like having a spinal cord injury and being in a chair. You obviously, I guess, I haven't really thought about this too much, but if I had to narrow it down to your biggest problems are mobility, getting around, and then obviously like what kind of facilities you need to go and taking a fucking shit.
Yeah.
So for me, the nicest thing was actually having a generator to charge my track chair because, and this goes off. I mean, sorry if I go down too many rabbit holes.
No, dude, go for it.
I'm a rabbit hole talker.
We're all about tangents and off topic here. So
cool, because that is me. So like from a hunting perspective, again, we're talking about camping, but like spend a lot of time like in my normal chair, right?
Yeah.
Rolling around camp. I do, when you're in the truck, do a lot of roading. There's a lot of time where you're just in your truck driving around Forest Service roads, scouting out, looking for stuff. I personally like best, again, too, and this is going to be another issue, but talking about the generator is, having, if anybody doesn't know, use an action track chair to get around in nasty terrain where it's just not really feasible to go in your normal chair.
It's never going to happen. I mean, the places you can go in a track chair.
Right. And there's times actually where I do hunt from my normal chair, but again, and I can talk about later in the specifics of how I do certain things, but I would say is like you pretty much almost need a track chair. You don't have to, you can do like a road hunting, but you need it. And so for me, the biggest thing was because I personally I'm slowly accumulating more gear, to take out. And so luckily, Jeff had a generator that we used, and that allowed me to charge my track chair. Because otherwise, if you don't have a way to charge it, you're showing out in the woods you better have your batteries fully charged, and then you better plan on when you're actually going to be in that chair driving back and forth versus how much time you're going to be in the seat of your pickup versus time you might just be in your normal chair.
Yeah, so I've only gone out on one hunt. That was back in 2016 with out in Eastern with Jeff and Mark.
Right.
And just based on my experience with the track chair, you probably can only get like 2 full days of driving that thing around, because I remember by the end of the first day, and I think I might have used it for, it was a good 6 hours. We were, actively moving in the chair.
And again too, like talking about tractor, like that all depends, like that battery life all depends on the terrain.
Yeah.
So like, cause I know I've, been hunting, up at Mark's before, and the nice thing when you're on someone who has like private property, a large piece of land, and they have things you can utilize, they're like, side by sides, and on such a large piece of property, it's nice to be able to, drive. Yeah, I just, I don't know you, I think you did too, but I would just stay in my track chair, drive it into the bed of the side by side, and then haul you wherever you're going to what corner of the property, then you get out, and then, then you're actually using the battery life of your track chair. So you're really not using much. Like, so this last week when I got home, past week when I got home down at my family's property, they obviously have a power there for me to plug it in. I can charge it overnight, but it's like, it's just their property. They just a house, they live there, and they just let us come hunt on, their large piece of acreage.
Yeah.
And so, I wouldn't call it, I've been all around Oregon, I would not call it necessarily the most rugged, but it is very much steep enough where I went from where our camp was in my track chair all the way climbed up to the hillside to the end of the pasture to start going up higher in the woods. And I'd already lost about a third of my battery life just trying to get across. And I'm thinking, well, damn, it's like I don't want to venture too high up into the, the woods and the trees, because next thing I know, I'm just gonna have to turn around here in another 20 minutes. My batteries, because I'd be going a lot of times through the woods, following these little Jeep trails and stuff, till there's a place where one of my cousins has a deer feeder out, and just to get up there, I would and it's not bad, like an able-bodied person, walking, hiking, whatever, no big deal. But if you're going to track chair, I had to stop a couple times because the thing gave me the warning light that the motors were overheating, and I had to just stop and sit there and let it cool off.
Dang. And it wasn't even like that hot of a day, was it?
Oh no, it was like, it didn't get too cold, but I got another funny story too, which will probably come up later. But yeah, it was like, the nicest it got was probably in the high 60s. And, it did rain a good amount. It was overcast a lot, some cold rain, I'd say the low 50s.
You know what track chairs should do? And I don't know why I just thought of this. They should make like a battery kit, like a auxiliary battery kit. Well, where you can mount, auxiliary batteries onto the back.
Jeff has been helping me brainstorm a lot about, that's the biggest issue with the track chair is extending your range, how far you can go before it's like, I got to get back to electricity and plug this guy in.
Because you can do the generator on the back and pretty much turn it into a gas op, but it's like noise.
Yeah, fuck that. Like, I'm not rolling around with that noise out there, because that's the best thing about a track chair. It's so quiet.
Yeah.
And so that's the last thing you want is some sort of little gasoline engine making noise. And so to go back to that too, that's also another thing we realized, just again with the batteries. It has two car batteries, 212 volts, and I have a pretty nice. I paid for the nicer charger. I upgraded to the nicer charger, but nonetheless, sitting there in camp, letting that thing charge. I forget how big the tank was on the generator. I don't know, 8 gallons or something like that. But it burned through the whole damn tank just trying to get that chair charged. We had to leave it charging all day because we went out one day. We didn't even bring it. We just left it in there, got in our truck. We're just going to drive around and scout out, and, to drive these old, spur roads and stuff. And, killed all the gas of just getting it recharged for the one next day. So there's a lot of logistics that goes into it, and it takes planning to figure out. And that's why I've come accustomed to is right now, my method best is, again, like I said, I spend a lot of time in the truck driving around looking, and I keep the track chair in the bed of the truck, and I got myself some real nice folding, super lightweight aluminum ramps. So if I'm using the tenant control, I can load and unload the track chair by myself and then out of my pickup. And then I keep it with me fully charged in the pickup until I'm somewhere like, hey, this is a spot I want to get out for a while and go explore. Or I want to oh, there's a stand I want to go get to, and I'm going to go hang out there for a couple hours and watch or something. And so that's how I do it. That's currently how I'm doing it mostly. With the track chair part is, again, just to save that battery life, because either, like I said, you have to have a generator, or you have to probably be on private property where you have an outlet to plug it in.
Yeah. I bet you could wire something up into the bed of your truck where, you have a AC plug there. And
right. That's definitely. I actually hadn't even thought about that.
Yeah, get an inverter and then just run it off the alternator. And
exactly. So
that way, when you are driving around, it's you're
recharging, you're getting something.
Yeah, you're not gonna fill it up, but you're gonna at least put some juice back into it.
Another thing we've kind of brainstormed about is same thing, and it sounds great, solar panels, but again, when you talk about hunting, especially here in Oregon, it's you don't ever get a fucking sun.
Yeah, and even from what I've heard, the solar panels
doesn't charge it enough.
They can't. Yeah, they don't pull in enough juice. You'd have to get these giant panels.
Right. Right now, I'm thinking the best way is just add more batteries.
That's what I was saying. It'd be so easy if they would just build a kit where it's they have the trays for the back, but if they turn that into just an actual dry box that you can swap out. You could set 2 batteries in, wire those up parallel, and then just hook them up into the main batteries.
Right.
And then that way you pretty much, I mean, you could double.
Right.
If you use the same size car batteries, you can
Right.
double your capacity, or even just go with bigger, marine batteries.
Yeah, absolutely. And so that's something that we're, brainstorming, looking into, just thinking about, looking at options, and, just start messing with.
Yeah.
Excuse me. But, that obviously is limitations of the track chair is your range. And so, again, that kind of can take us even to deeper about different ways to hunt disabled, like I said. And as I don't actually have it right now, but like I'm sure most states have it, and Oregon does, where you got to submit your paperwork through ODFW, and you can get your permit that allows you to shoot from the truck legally.
Yeah, I still need to do that.
I still haven't done it. I'm not going to sit here and talk about what's legal or not, but if I'm driving my truck, I see something, I'll just stop and get out real quick.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's what I feel like a lot of hunting is too. I know a lot of people do it regardless if you're crippled or able-bodied. Like there's a lot of time you're scouting in the woods, you're driving places, you're looking, but especially makes a lot of sense when you're a chair. There's a lot of time when you're just driving down, have a good pair of binoculars, have a spotting scope, whatever, park and stop for a while, glass a hillside. And that too is if you're out like on public land, places you don't know, versus like I said, where I hunt, just came back from my family's property. I know the property, I know spots to go.
Yeah.
And so talking about that, like one of the things I did a lot on this last trip is because my family, like on their property, they have a real big pasture in the center of it before you get up into the woods. And so I would actually just take my track chair, tow my normal wheelchair out there behind me, and then I would bring out a pop-up blind. I would set a pop-up blind up on the edge of the trees so I could watch everything, and then I would jump into my normal chair because I find it a lot more comfortable when you're gonna. Because I sat out there for I don't know like 8 hours one night, just sitting and waiting all afternoon and evening long just to see, and I ended up seeing just a deer and 2 Jake turkeys coming out of the woods, but I had my bear and cougar tag and didn't see that. But that, like I was saying, another way is I have hunted from my normal wheelchair from blinds, and you get out somewhere and having like a nice pop-up blind, especially something lightweight, is great. And then you roll out in your chair, pop it up, throw it over the top of you, as long as you got stay warm and just chill.
Yeah. Do you actually, before we move on to that, I wanted to go back. You were talking about your track chair and the attendant control, and that was one of the tips I got from Jeff. When I was getting my chair ordered, right. He's like, dude, make sure you get the attendant control, because that way you can,
right.
It's vital to be able to drive it on and off,
right, exactly,
your trailer independently, which.
Right.
And that's a pretty important thing for guys like us who doesn't,
right.
We don't like to rely on people a whole lot.
Absolutely. So. Especially when it's like we go out and me and Jeff go out, we're 2 dudes in wheelchairs. We don't have any able-bodied people to help us. We're on our own. We got to get it done. And so, yeah, attendant control is great, because what I do is I just picked him up last month before I went on my first spring bear hunt. Just went down to a motorcycle shop and got a real nice pair. They're folding aluminum ramps, and so they're the longest enough ones I can get because my truck's lifted. So it's a steep incline.
The bed sits like almost at your like at your shoulders. Pretty much.
When I put down my tailgate, it like I could decapitate myself. It's right there on my neck.
Yeah.
It's my jugular. And so I got I found a nice pair I liked, pretty decent price. But the thing about them is they're just right length, just long enough where it's steep, but the track chair will go up with just fine in the truck, and they're light enough so my cripple ass can pull them out, unfold them, set it up, and then with the attendant control, it being long enough, I drive that track chair in and out of my truck myself. I just take it and I lean the thing, I tilt it so it's leaned all the way because the tendon control plugs in from like the front underneath. So I lean the chair all the way back to put the weight in the back, and I actually back it up the ramps into the truck, and then I, grab my ramps, fold them up, lay them right there in front of it, between the tailgate and the track chair, and then same thing, I just lay the tendon control down there, it's obviously plugged in, so then when I want to get out somewhere, boom, grab the ramps, unfold them, and grab the tendon control, and then I can drive the,
You don't bother tying the track chair down at all?
No.
Yeah.
I couldn't anyway. I guess maybe I could, again, and that's the whole thing about, crippled hunting is you got to get real innovative. But I'm sure, I could do it on my own, figure out a way, but I don't say there's any need to. The chair is heavy enough. Once you turn it off, the motors lock in place. So I've only, when I've gone up real steep hillsides and stuff in my truck, the chair slides around a little bit.
Yeah,
but it's
never gonna jump out of the bed.
No, it's too heavy. It's not going anywhere. Plus two, I actually wasn't worried about it going anywhere. I was more worried with being tilted back about it cracking my rear window.
Yeah, you got to get a headache crack.
Well, you actually don't, because the wheelie bar is just long enough where if it does even slide back, it just pushes up against the back of the bed, and so it never does quite touch the window. Because my family's property, I go hunting out, their driveway is so nasty. You have to put it in 4-wheel drive just to get up their driveway. And then it's like, you can hear everything rattling around in the back of your truck. And I'm watching the chair kind of like slide around in the back of my truck as I'm going up. But it's, that it's not going anywhere. And it's, again, I have a short bed too anyways, which is, I like it being in a wheelchair just for crippled handy purposes. It's easier to it's more accessible, for me to get things.
Absolutely.
Because if I can't reach anything in the back of my truck, I'm grabbing my garden rake and start, use it like a reacher, start pulling that stuff. But that's how I get the chair in and out by my own, and that's one of the best ways, is just to have it there handy when you need it, and get yourself a pair of folding aluminum ramps.
Are you able to transfer into your bed, if you wanted to?
I've never tried. That would take some brainstorming how to get up there. Because I feel like you would have to climb up certain tiers, because it's just such a high jump to the tailgate alone. Yeah, I don't know how you would do it.
Yeah, you might have to.
Because I've got on YouTube and I've seen other paras climb into semis, and I know I've climbed in and out of a truck, Jeff's lifted truck just the same size as mine back in the day, and there's techniques to it, but it's different when you have you're crawling in through the actual door. You have a place to put your legs, doors and grab bars and things to hold on to, versus just here's a down tailgate, how the fuck am I gonna get up?
That's what I was thinking, is if you mounted some sort of grab bar, and you're able to
just do pretty much pull-ups into it.
It'd be like a what do they call it? One of those ups. But with me, with my triceps, I'd be there'd be no fucking way.
Yeah, like I said, it's more physical ability is a lot of it, but too the bigger half, in my opinion, always is your mind, how does this actually look? What is the technique for this? How do you go about doing it? And so I've never tried to get in the bed of my truck. I really don't have any desire to, just because, like I said, if anything actually does end up in the back of my truck, I have something long and handy. I'll use a garden rake. When I hunt with Jeff, he'd bring along a bunch of PVC pipes that he'd put glue on T ends of pipes, so you have a little makeshift, shepherd's hook kind of deal that, you can grab stuff and pull stuff out of the back of the truck. Another thing actually you could do, and just as me brainstorming right now, because it's something I do plan on getting someone who welds to help me make, is a gutting station. So I just bought, Harbor Freight's great, $50. Got a 2,500 pound winch just on it has a little key fob remote.
Oh yeah.
So I want to rig that up and weld up a pole system that goes in the hitch of my truck that then the winch is attached to, and the cable runs up and down over the topping like a hanger. So it's pretty much, I have a little makeshift gutting station that I can pull out, plug into my hitch, bring down my hooks, hook up an animal, hit the remote, and next thing you know, it hauls up your deer or whatever you just shot, and then you can sit there and gut that from the back of your truck.
Yeah.
And then when you're done, you just pull it out of your hitch and put it, store it back away.
I'm surprised they don't already have something like that for like able bodies. I mean, it seems
they might. It's just probably really expensive.
Yeah, like all things.
Especially when you can make it yourself. You got a buddy that knows how to weld.
Yeah.
Get some pieces of steel, weld something together. Again, you get yourself a $50 winch. I mean, you just saved yourself a shitload of money.
That might be something you can add to like your the trailer you just got.
Yeah, so that also too, that was another Jeff's idea. Is so me and my wife just bought a little 23-foot toy hauler, and it's not I didn't have a custom or accessible made like Tim. I just bought one off the lot, and I can get out of, and so I can't get into the normal side door. It's not wide enough. I have to go in the ramp on the back, obviously.
How's that push?
It doesn't happen.
I
have my wife who either help push me up it, because it's so steep you'll flip yourself.
Yeah.
So she helps me push it up. That's one method. The other method is, again, because I travel everywhere with my track chair, I leave my normal wheelchair in the trailer and I just drive up the back with my track chair.
Yeah.
And then, because that's where I'm going to stow it at night anyways, and then transfer into my normal chair. And then part of Jeff's original idea, the same thing as why I got that winch, is to rig up a little system where I could clamp on or set down my winch inside, run it down, strap it on the bottom of my chair, and you just kind of lean forward and hit the key remote and you pull yourself up.
Dude, I had something like that for one of my ramp vans, because I always had trouble pushing up the side ramps on a van. And there was a company that my dad had discovered. It's called Adapt Solutions. And they make pretty much that exact same thing. It's like an electric winch.
Just tows you.
Yeah, and it like clips onto the the little front casters.
Right.
First time I used it, man, I ended up flipping myself. And I used it maybe successfully like 3 or 4 times, and then I was just like, all right, this thing's fucking dumb. Like it's not gonna work for me.
So another thing I've been thinking about too is like, I have the toy hauler, and so obviously right there in the back where you store your toys, you have all these tie down hooks.
Yeah.
And so I just got the bright idea, and I haven't tried it yet. I need to go get some rope, but just have some rope on a clip.
That's what I was gonna suggest.
And then pretty much just make a little belt or something so I don't pull myself out of my wheelchair.
Yeah.
And just PT it like back in the ring court and just pull myself up the ramp.
Yeah. You tie a couple knots in there and you just kind of just pull.
Right.
Yourself
I have a clip so I can click it on to any of the rings.
Yeah.
And just sit there and pull myself right in and out. But then you still get in the issues. Is I have it, and I bought this trailer actually for my wife, not for me, because I love tent camping. I love just camping under the stars. Love my wife, God bless her heart, but she's just kind of a city slicker, and so she likes her amenities. And so anyways, that's why we got a trailer.
Well, she's also a hell of a cook, so it's kind of nice having that full kitchen
versus eating hamburger helper.
Yeah.
But so she helps me into it, and I got it for her. So
are you able to get into the restroom or the shower or anything?
I have actually not tried, but I bought them knowing that I could when I went and saw it. Just based off the layout, because they said it's not the biggest toy hauler, but what I do is I turn around and back in down the main little alleyway to because I have the fridge and the bathroom showers on one side, and then obviously you have your stove, your sink on the other, and then at the head of the trailer is your bed. So I back down there and come around the corner where the door is, based off the way the door swings open, and then so I could transfer in and out of there. I just right now have to find myself like a new commode chair to get set up in there.
Yeah.
And so for the time being is like I'm not too worried about it. It's mainly for for her, I just take like my normal commode chair, stick it outside, grab a shovel, dig a hole, take a crap outside.
Are you pitching up a tent or anything, or just shitting out in the open?
Oh, it's out in the open, man.
That's badass, dude.
You gotta enjoy nature, man.
Is that what you and Jeff were doing out?
Oh yeah, dude. I just shit right like 50 feet away from the campsite. Yeah. Jeff can still smell me when I was sitting there shitting.
Just have a good old fashioned, group poop.
All right, dude. Just like the Marine Corps. It's like, man, you don't need stall doors.
Dude, yeah, the first time it was like that first night on receiving. Then like in the receiving hall, like the only bathrooms that you can go use, like it had just two shitters right next to each other, no stall door, stainless steel. Right. And I was just like, well, fuck, I gotta shit. I just met these 60 other dudes, but
welcome to the Marine Corps. Yeah. What did I get myself into?
Yeah. So I don't. Yeah. Now it's
I like it. I mean, I have no problem. Like, I'm not. I don't know the right word. Embarrassed or like I don't know. It doesn't bother me one bit. And it's funny because see all these stupid like memes and little weird fucking motivational pictures like on the internet and Facebook. And I always like see pictures of like these people like in this like taking a bath in their bathtubs, like on this real big scenic hillside out in the middle of nowhere. I was like, first off, where the fuck did you get the bathtub to get out there? And then two, and everyone like is like, oh, this looks awesome. I was like, you wouldn't fucking do that. Yeah. It's like, I do. And it's just like, again, because the commode chairs you break down, so it's a little chair I haul out there.
You use like, is it the new products, or which one are you using?
I don't know the name. It's the it's all gray. It's got the real thick padding, and then it's got the holes cut out. It's got the hole in the center also with a cutout, so then you can put your back on it any way you want to. So you can have the cut. Me being right-handed to wipe my ass, I put it on my my right side. And so
I'm pretty sure that's the new product. It packs into a little carry case.
No, Jeff was telling me I need to check out yours.
Okay, yeah.
Because I think yours is the one you're talking about. I think so. It's smaller and more handy and travel. Mine's like the normal one you would normally leave set up in your house.
Okay.
And so I just, pull the legs and the back off, haul it out with me, and then just go set it up wherever the shitter's going to be around camp, And then same thing, just bring a shovel or an e-tool or something, dig a hole, do your business, fill it back in. The next time you need to go, move your chair over 3 feet and dig a new hole.
Yeah. One of my favorite pieces of equipment that I own is it's the new Products 3000 TX, and it's their super portable commode chair, shower chair, and
I've been hearing about it.
Yeah, it packs into a little,
carry
on size case.
I need to see that when we're done with this.
Yeah, and what's cool is that they redesigned the back legs where they're kind of offset, because when I was using them overseas, they have the European style toilet bowls where they kind of taper in the back.
Right.
So you weren't always able to get your chair over, but now the back, you can set where the back legs are offset.
Right.
Because I took that chair down to Colombia and I wasn't able to get the chair, and I was just like, well, I'm gonna just set this up in front of the sink and just poop into one of the garbage cans.
Right.
And that's what I figured. I think if I go out camping, because it'd be a pain in the ass for me to dig a hole, I think I would just bring a Homer bucket out there.
It all depends too. It's if you're by yourself, if with your other games you're talking quad versus pair, someone's got a hand function, I can dig a hole for you before you go. And then again, that's just all kind of the logistics and the planning part that comes along when you go hunting. Yeah. So so funny story, because I've thought about it too. There's other ways. So you could set up a little shitting station if you I thought you could get a little extra pop-up tent or something, put one in there, dig tear a hole in the bottom of the tent and just have spend some time, but dig a massive hole, and you literally make yourself a little pop-up setup makeshift outhouse.
They make those little shower tents.
Yeah, you could do something like that too. I don't, because I don't. Again, it doesn't bother me, so I don't see the point in spending the money on it when I'll just I'm cool just shitting out in the open. Like, there's no one out there except for the people in camp with me, you know? And then on top of that, too, like, when I was camping out there hunting with Jeff, like, you could kind of see some other cars through the trees coming down one of the roads. And so every now and then I'd see, like, one drive by, and I just wave at them, you know, sitting there doing my business. Like, what else am I going to do?
You know, now that I think about it, I would actually be more nervous shitting in the middle of the woods inside of a tent that I can't see out of, because if you start hearing some fucking rustling, you know, like in the bushes and shit, you want to be able to like see it. Where now if you're shitting out in the open, like you got a 360 field of view of what's going on around you.
I don't know. In my opinion, that doesn't bother me. I saw them more of as like the tent aspect is more like a shelter, so you're out of the wind and the rain. So funny story, we're about to get real personal. So this last trip I was on my family's property. I'm over there, you know, I was just me and my dad, and we're over, like, my battery's dead in my track chair, so I take it over kind of near their house where I can plug it in, and then I just, like, you know, hear a, and I'm just like, as I bent over, and I had, like, a fucking wet fart. I'm like, fuck, like, I need to go shit now, you know, in my fucking like pants.
Code brown, like, let's go.
Let's get going. So I push back across, you know, to where our campsite was. In my chair is like been sitting out there, so I grab the shovel, dig a fresh hole, put, you know, my chair over it, get my pants down, transfer onto my chair. Soon as I transfer onto my chair, like I thought I was like fine at where I'd set it, like I wasn't, you know, the legs, the hole wasn't too big, so there's plenty of room for the legs of the chair, but the ground was soft enough right there. So the ground gave way between the front and left leg of my chair right as I transfer onto it. As I'm like bubble gut, start to shit myself, my chair flips over. I flip forward out into the fucking ground. It's like fucking 50 degrees out, fucking raining, cold ass rain. And they're just like, I'm shitting, getting everywhere while I'm laying in the grass, like next to some poison oak. And I'm just like, fuck my life. So I sit there, and I was like down there on the ground for like 20.
You just get on your side and just.
No, I just like sat there for like, it probably wasn't that long, but like I had a rain jacket on, so my top half is like dry and warm. But like I get my pants off, get my boots off, get some fucking clean my ass off, you know, get the shit off of me, just left my pants out there to soak up in the rain. And then fucking crawl, get my ass cleaned off so I can crawl back up onto my wheelchair, reposition my commode chair, retransfer on. That took like 30 fucking minutes while I'm sitting in the fucking rain. The only reason why I didn't freeze was the fact that picking yourself up off the ground, you know, when you have no leg use, you get warm real quick.
Yeah, you're burnt. You're
yeah,
burnt.
my blood got flowing. So then I sat there, you know, with bubble guts sitting on the commode chair, you know, for like another fucking 45 minutes out in, you know, the pouring down rain. You know, by the time I was done, my legs felt like ice because I'm naked from the waist down. You know, get back in my chair, make my way to the tent. You know, dry myself off. You know, put some, you know, clean clothes on to get warm again, and then just like I just let those pants sit in the rain. You know, they got cleaned off. But like that's the reality of it. And then my dad kind of looked over and saw what was going on. He's like, "Do you need help?" And I was like, "Nah, just leave me.
Yeah,
just leave me. I can take care of this."
That's what I love about like my group of friends is like we just take things in stride, and like if shit like that happens, we just fucking like we just find a way to deal with it, you know, where
you have to, because otherwise you're sitting in the cold ass rain in a fucking rainstorm getting soaked with shit, and you can't walk, and you got to figure out how to get back up in your wheelchair.
Yeah, and it's like even if you had someone there, like, are you gonna ask someone else to fucking take care of your shit pants? And like, it's like, no, this is my problem. I'm gonna fucking deal with it.
Yeah, I don't need anybody to do it for me. Like, I'll get it done. The fact is, it takes longer. You know, yeah. I don't get to just run off to the outhouse or go run out behind a log and squat like the rest of you and just fucking shit my brains out and call it good and be done fucking 5 minutes later. So, it's a little bit of an ordeal.
That's why I've always maintained, man. I've been living the cripple life since 2008, and I've always maintained, man, if I could get one thing back, fuck walking. Like, let me take a normal shit, 5 minutes, done.
And so, and for me, it's like, I generally don't have like problems with my bowels. Whatever reason, of course, Murphy's Law, when I have an issue, that's when I'm out in the fucking woods.
Yeah.
You know?
I told the story a couple podcasts ago about, when I had to take a shit on a plane. It was like,
you gotta go.
Never done it before, but hey, you got to be a fucking problem solver and figure this thing out.
You're stuck. You either figure it out or you're in a pun intended shitty situation.
Yeah, you're just gonna have to just shit yourself and fucking deal with that later. But
right, and that's I'd rather problem solve and deal with the heartache and the hassle.
Yeah. Did you run into any other like GIMP problems while you're out in the woods?
I'm trying to think. I mean, they always arise, but I mean, I guess I can't. Nothing really comes to mind right now because I guess it's such normal common occurrences like with your normal day-to-day life that it's
like just getting over like obstacles and shit, like just wheeling around the woods and like, oh shit, I gotta get over this tree branch or
that's not really to me. I mean, I don't know, having like full function of my hands, my upper body, that's not an issue because that's like a normal, like I have a more of an issue that doing yard work in my own yard, you know what I mean? So that's like that's not the issue. A lot of it's just kind of like planning. Figuring out how to do stuff. If you're going out by yourself, you gotta get all this shit out of the bed of your lifted pickup by yourself. Like, for example, me and Jeff, like pitching a tent, 2 fucking gimps pitching a tent, like that alone it can be a challenge. And then proper planning, you gotta pick a good tent before you go hunting that is going to be easier for 2 guys in wheelchairs to set up. So like, we took. Knowing Jeff and how his love to shop at Walmart, got a little that line. I think they're called Ozark. They all they sell at Walmart. Ozark everything. But this damn little tent worked out pretty well. Trying to describe it. I think it's kind of like a pentagon shape, 5-sided or something.
Okay.
But it just has an A-frame in the center, so just 2 poles.
Oh, nice.
And it's weird. Like I did not understand how this was just gonna hold itself up. But I fucking did.
You guys were able. You guys need to start a YouTube channel, by the way.
Oh, we are. Check out Well, it's not up yet, but 2 Gimps Outdoors is coming soon.
That'll be on YouTube. That's like the name of the channel.
The end goal is gonna be on YouTube, but we will also in the meantime. I'm trying to get the Instagram going first, just to have photo content because video content takes a long time. And I'm not talking from like editing standpoint, but like the raw data, the footage, because like you have to actually have those trips out camping, out fishing, out hunting, out hiking around in the woods and have all that just video collection of it before you even take that, that raw data and, turn it into a video.
Do you, I don't know, you're hearing that fucking feedback? I don't know what the fuck that is. There we go. Do you have any video editing experience or anything?
No.
Dude, I took a class up here at Clackamas Community College.
All right.
It was part of their certificate program. I was just kind of like in between majors trying to figure out what the fuck I wanted to do.
Right.
So I just decided to do a multimedia journalism certificate. One of the classes was video editing. And dude, it's pretty much taught me everything about like
that you need to know.
Start doing stuff, doing like Adobe and stuff. And the guy that actually teaches the class, it wasn't just using the program and all that. It was like how to construct and tell a story through video,
storyboard, stuff.
and like how to just structure a story and present it in a way that is more intriguing and makes it more engaging to the viewers. But dude, certainly I would really recommend that class because you mainly focus on using like Premiere, which is it's a great program. You can do pretty much anything that you want.
Sure. But
then you also touch into like a little bit of I'm using Audition right now to record this. And a lot of like the controls and shit are like about the same.
Right.
And then like YouTube's just an awesome resource for video editing.
We haven't gotten that far yet. I mean, I've same thing, thought about like, taking some classes on my GI Bill, learning how to do that. We've also talked about just getting someone we know who already is good at video editing and stuff, and have them do it.
Yeah.
But like I said, right now it just comes down to we do not have the raw footage collected.
Yeah.
We don't have the database of footage to even create the videos yet.
Well, I'm selling a bunch of my video equipment, so if you want to buy like an old GoPro, let me know.
I have one somewhere. I think it's at Mark's.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then too, the other side of that is to get the footage, is the trips. And so we have several hunting trips planned this year, or excuse me, this upcoming December. And so we need to, plan even more trips, do some just camping trips. We're going to be this December, we're going to do cross country. Me and Jeff and my wife, we're going to go hit his property up, deer hunt beginning December in Texas, and then we'll drive up to Missouri, hunt Missouri, and then we'll drive up to Georgia and hunt Georgia. And so we got that going on December, so we need to, find some other stuff to do between now and then. Probably need to. I enjoy fishing a lot too. It's just not something I've actually gotten back into since my disability. Like, I've gone like fishing once or twice since I've been in a chair, but I've just been more interested into really getting back on the woods and hunting first. And so I've spent more of my time kind of figuring that aspect out than I have of just going down and buying some fishing tackle and go hitting up the dock.
How does hunting out of state work?
What do you mean?
Like like in Oregon, you have to submit for your permit and your tag, your hunter's license.
You have to look up the state's laws.
Yeah, I know Texas is pretty hunter friendly, especially veteran.
Oh fuck it, that's
disabled
why.
veteran.
That's why we're hunting Texas, Missouri, and then Georgia. Extremely disabled veteran friendly. Please don't quote me on this. Anybody who does listen to this, I don't remember the specifics. Again, I need to go re-look it up on the website. But like being a disabled veteran, we can go. I feel like we get a tag to kill like 7 does and $3.
Yeah.
And 2 turkeys or some like crazy absurd shit like that.
I need to do my research because
then that's what it all comes down to. Because I'm trying to hunt like full fucking time, like all I can, like go everywhere.
Yeah.
And so a lot of it comes down to finding, I guess, the places. Planning it out, the place that makes sense. Like I want to travel all the way to this state that I don't know any ground, so I'm gonna have to figure out places to hunt as well versus like what it's gonna cost me. So like right now I need to look into more of the laws up in Washington, but Washington just across the road, right across the river. It's not far. I have family that live up there already, and so I do know, for example, that Washington State, us being disabled vets, we pay resident prices. So we pay whatever resident pays for the license and then for your tags, which is fine for me because that's fine. That's a good deal considering normally states, when you have out of state licensing tags, is extremely expensive. So for example, I applied for elk this fall to go with my dad and his whole hunting crew. And one of my uncles likes to come along a lot, but he's a Washington State resident. So, again, don't quote me on the exact dollar, but for him to come, he has to pay $170-ish something dollars to buy his license for Oregon. He has to buy his license before he can apply for the hunt. You're not guaranteed to draw. You just have to pay that for your license first being on the state.
Yeah, that's
then you pay this stupid little $8 application fee. Fine if you draw. Then if you do draw, fucking out of state elk tag, I think it's over $500.
Jesus. Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
That's insane.
And so
that's what people don't realize, like how efficient the fucking Department of Fish and Wildlife, like how it's one of the best run government programs, because people always, I think hunters kind of get a bad rep where they just look at hunters like they're just a bunch of rednecks who are just bloodthirsty and want to go out there
hunters
and kill.
Get such a bad rap.
But they don't realize that like hunters
Hunters do the most for conservation.
Yeah, exactly. Like they're the number one contributors conservation.
You know what PETA does for all these animals? Fucking fuckle.
Yeah.
You know, it's all hunters that take care and manage wildlife.
Yeah. I got a bunch of shit yesterday because one of the community groups that I'm a part of, I live out like in the woods here in Oregon, and it's pretty rural. And there's a bunch of cougars.
Dude, this isn't that rural.
Yeah, but I mean, it's definitely not like the suburbs. Like
right.
We got plenty of wildlife out here, and there's been a lot of cougars, and one of the ladies in the group kind of freaked out and was like, "Oh my God, we just saw a cougar in our driveway," so we called wildlife control.
So what the fuck do I need to call them for? I'll go shoot it myself.
That's what I posted. I was like, "Hey, I got a cougar tag and a 30-06. Like just saying."
Yeah, not to go off on the gun rant, but that's like someone said, "Oh shit, someone broke in my house. I better call the cops." No, fucking shoot them yourself, motherfucker.
Yeah, like by the time the cops get there, the dudes
you're dead.
Yeah, you're dead, and you're raped.
I'm not going down the gun route on this fucking podcast right now. It's not a good idea.
way too sensitive.
Yeah.
And I don't ever like want to try to get into like political rants, but
oh no, I don't.
Just,
yeah. But no, actually,
it is just one of those misconceptions that like just hunters get, and it
really is. And I do actually. I'm a big proponent, and I love Steven Ranella's Meat Eater podcast as well as his show.
Oh, the show's great.
It's great, and I like the podcast better because obviously that's what he does. Mainly, there's so much more content.
Mm-hmm.
The show only has so many episodes, but it's still beautifully done.
Yeah,
and I really like that because I've seen. It's starting to open up a lot more people's eyes to hunting because I feel like everybody thinks hunting is like Elmer Fudd, Duck Dynasty, rednecks with, Keystone Light cans and fucking wearing the little hunter orange hat. I don't know what people's perception of it is because, again, I grew up and, my father was an avid hunter. I grew up with it. And so I saw it for a different side.
It really does depend. Like if you're exposed to it and you're educated about it, which I don't know why like the public school system doesn't explain that more. Just because I grew up. The only hunter in my family was my grandpa, and he quit hunting before I was able to ever go out with him. So I never, I grew up around like, a lot of my classmates hunted and stuff, but I didn't really know much about it. So I got into it, late in the game. The first hunt I went on was, my cripple hunt with Mark back in 2016.
And so, like I say, that is like a very, I don't want to say limited perspective, but like you only have that perspective now being crippled versus what it would have been like an able-bodied person having that ability to hike through all the woods, because that's like the number one thing I like. I was a kid, my dad dragged me out in the woods with him to go hunting, and most of the time I didn't want to go. It's not now until I'm older, and I was like, fuck, I wish I could walk again. I miss being in the woods. But when I was a kid, I didn't want to fucking be there. I'd rather be home playing video games like any other fucking kid.
Yeah,
and
I hear you.
Not going on that rant, but I hate video games to this day now.
That's I was talking earlier, maybe about like a year ago. We were talking. It was like if you could have like one day to live as an AB, like 24 hours, like what would you go do? And everyone was like, "Oh, dude, I'd go, ride a motorcycle or do all this shit." And I was just like, you know what I would do is I would just go on a hike and go into the woods, maybe with like a rifle and like go elk hunting, like in Montana or like Alaska or something. Like
I've never thought about that specific scenario, so I don't have an answer for you right now. What if I had one day just to like get my legs back for one day? I don't know what that would be yet. I'd really need to think about that for a while.
I would book a private flight up to Montana, get some random hooker, pound her out on the plane, be like, all right, now I'm gonna go hunting, and then just go out in the woods and just walk around with the rifle for a day. And if I stumble upon something worth shooting, just taking a shot. But it's one of those fantasy scenarios that's just like never gonna happen, so you don't want to dwell on it. But
so then you got to go a little crazy with it too.
Yeah.
Like I don't have an answer for you right now. If I come with one, I'll let you know. But to backtrack a little bit, we're talking about, you said, you had some cougar sightings out here. That's one of the things too, is my dad always told me going hunting. We got cougars out in Oregon. Like, oh, the cougar tag is good for the whole state for the whole year. So it doesn't make any sense not to fucking just buy one and have one.
Yeah. My buddy just, he was out last weekend, out in the Coast Range towards like Tillamook, because he's got a friend out there who owns, you know, a couple hundred acres, and a cougar dragged away one of his alpacas.
Damn.
They found it. They found it in the riverbed, just all fucking shredded.
I know this is how weird maybe people do a hunt. Like, yes, that sucks for your friend losing his alpaca, but at the same time, in my opinion, that's badass to have experienced that in life. You know what I mean? Like,
not for the alpaca.
Oh, yeah, no. Sorry, buddy. You know, so I think everybody too. It's like that sucks. Like part of your livestock's gone. I get it. That's money gone. That sucks. But at the same time, like, dude, that's a badass story to tell people.
Oh, for sure. But yeah,
you know, and that's to say too, because I've seen a cougar. I've seen one actually with my own eyes once in the woods, about 25 yards from me. He sprinted right by me. That was at Mark's property.
Oh, yeah.
That was epic. I will never forget that. That was so cool.
How many pounds do you think it was?
Boy, I'm not a good estimate on this stuff. I'm never.
What
good.
Size dog do you think? Like, compare it to?
Oh, he would fuck up my Rottweiler.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta fuck it. What's Hef now? Like 90?
My Rottweiler, my dog Hephaestus, he is somewhere in the realm of 125, 130
pounds. Yeah, he's a monster.
This cat, and so again, like I said, I'm relearning hunting from an adaptive standpoint. I would not call myself a very experienced hunter all around, so I'm not good with estimating weights. I hear like a 200-pound cat is a pretty large cat.
Yeah, sounds like it'd be a monster.
But this cat was well over 100. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I would probably maybe the 150 range, I'm guessing. Like, he was good size. Like, you know, I've obviously seen cats in the fucking zoos and shit. You know what I mean? But he was big size. You know, he was in, but he was just, it was awesome. And then on this last trip, I was at my family's place with my father. I heard a cougar cry, and then about 11:30 at night after we had, you know, because I had been staying up in the blind, you know, till after sunset, you know, waiting, hoping something, you know, something comes out, and never did. And anyways, it was that late anyway, so you had dinner and went to bed, and I hadn't fallen asleep yet. And next thing I know, just out like had to been, you know, a couple hundred yards away from our camp out in the pasture. It's about 11:30, and I just hear this cougar start like wailing, and it's just like, it's cool as shit. But it was weird because I've heard another time in my life when I was younger, again hunting with my father, took me out deer hunting. That was the first time I'd ever heard a cougar in the woods. I heard a cougar scream, and that shit will make you a little bit nervous because we were out in the desolation unit, and we were there was snow on the ground, and so we're all in these little Christmas trees, and so you can't see fucking 10 feet in front of you. Walking through snowed Christmas trees, you know, just all over the place, and we just hear this cougar scream, and we're like, let's get to high grounds where we can see.
Yeah, I've never seen or heard one like in the wild.
It's interesting when like the first time I was talking about when I was younger, I heard him scream. That's like, if you've never heard one scream, it's fucking eerie. It makes the hair on the back of your neck stand up. This last week ago, it was weird. It didn't scream. The best way I can describe it kind of like wails. Like the way, if you've been around a house cat, you know,
yeah,
and they make, you know, they're not screaming, or like we joke, like my cat's always saying like, mom to my wife. You know, they just make weird little sounds. Imagine a house cat, the weird little sounds a house cat makes. But, you know, 200 pounds of that.
Amplified into a
amplified
200 pound animal.
And you know, you're up in the mountains, you know, out in the wilderness. It's dead silent out there. You can't hear nothing, you know. There's no sounds of civilization or cars, and you just hear what I would have estimated to be, you know, somewhere like, you know, 400 to 500 yards out, and it's just loud and it echoes, and you just hear this. You can tell. I knew right away what it was. I'm like, no, that's a cougar.
Have you ever eaten any wildcat like that?
No. I would love to, but I've the only one person in my family, I only know one person who's ever gotten a cougar. And it's one of my dad's cousins just got one a few months back. And he's having it like stuffed in a full mount. And speaking of like taxidermy, I heard, I think it was about $4,000 to make a full mount.
Oh, dude, they're ridiculous. I never realized how much.
Oh yeah.
Like those trophies.
I know.
Cost,
I was thinking like, you always, this thing with hunting. Like hunting is called hunting. It's not called killing. It's called hunting. Because you spend all this time hunting, and that's what most of your time is in the woods, is just searching. And so, but I still always go out, you always got to go with the positive attitude of wanting to find something. But the whole time I'm thinking out there, it's like, if I do get a bear, I'm going to want to make something out of it. And I'm thinking, I don't have money in my savings account right now. Like, what am I going to do? I'm going to have to take out a loan to stuff this bear or make a rug out of it.
Dude, I
don't even have the money set aside for it.
I think what you need to do with the rest of your GI Bill is
taxidermy school.
Yeah, and I'll do your fucking video editings and shit.
Right.
Like, you guys just send me the fucking raw footage, and I'll chop it up and turn that into like a decent product that y'all can put up on YouTube. And you just give me taxidermy services for life.
Right. No, I've kind of like actually in the back of my mind always thought about it, because like I know we got the I wasted a little bit of my GI Bill.
I don't think you ever. No, keep going.
Good?
Yeah,
okay.
You're fine.
I don't say I wasted it, but like I didn't really have a direction, so I just started taking some classes, and then I tried this online gunsmithing school, and they were a fucking hoax. Not gonna get into that. Just stay away from SDI. Anybody out there who sees those ads on YouTube, don't fucking go to that school. They are the biggest joke.
SDI.
Yeah, if you ever watch like the big prominent gun YouTube channels, a lot of them at the end through shout outs, they're sponsoring SDI. They're an online gunsmithing school. Yeah, I tried that and thought they were just taking advantage of veterans' money, of their GI Bills. They don't fucking...
Not to be confused with Scuba Diving International, which is the organization that certified me.
Yeah, no. It's the Sonoran Desert Institute. If you watch any of the major YouTube gun channels, at some point you will hear that name come up mentioned in their sponsor shout outs, whatever.
Yeah. That was I was looking into getting my FFL for a while there, but once I started getting into like kind of the underbelly of the gun industry, I was just like, there's a lot of, I guess, exploitation would be the right word, where it's just like people are just taking advantage of other people, and it's kind of like, it's a heavily regulated industry, but there's also a lot of unregulated shit that goes on within the industry. It's
right.
Just,
no, I same thing for a while. I actually thought about getting my FFL, and then that way too, I was like, all right, well then I can just, sell arms on the side, But then as I looked into it, found the laws and regulations, and it's like, you got to have, for me, for example, I would have just been doing it out of my home, out of my garage. So then you have to have business hours and time for people to come. And I was like, I like where I live. I like being very private. I'm very secluded. I have a 6-foot-high cyclone fence all around my property with a gate. Nobody can show up unless I even let them in my gate. People can't even get and knock on my front door. Right. And I like it that way. Yeah. And so I was like, when I started like looking into it and like the things you're required to do and have business hours.
Yeah. And you have to post.
Because originally I was just like going to just sell to people as I saw fit, and it worked in my schedule. Yeah. And then I was like, oh, fuck that.
Yeah. You got to have your address, your business address, which if it's your home address, it's going to be online for anyone to see. And I was just like, I thought about the same thing. I was like, man, I don't fucking want to just put my address out there and let people know that I'm an FFL. Like,
hell no. Yeah. So yeah, I thought about that road, and then real quickly I was like, nope, that is not a path for me.
Yeah, that's going to be one of the issues I'm going to run into with this podcast, is like I'm doing it out of my home. So fortunately, everyone I've had on is I've been really cool with, but
like people
yeah, exactly, and people that already know where I live, so it's like it's cool, but
like a random person who you've never met, you don't have a relationship with.
And eventually I'm gonna want to have guests on like that, where like I don't necessarily know them personally, but
I don't know them about podcasting. From looking at your gear, I feel like it's pretty easy just to like take this with you and travel somewhere.
Yeah,
and go set up, in a hotel room.
I've done that before. I've done I think I've done 2 episodes mobile.
Yeah,
I want to say. And then I before I even had all this equipment, I was just doing it. The first 2 episodes I did at the Oscar Mike compound, with just some bare bones equipment. That's why the sound quality sucks on the first 2 episodes. But yeah, I've been able to take this mobile, and I'm kind of starting to like streamline things a little bit more and make it a lot easier, because you can see the Pelican case I have over there. All this shit can fit into it.
Right,
it's just it becomes really heavy, especially with these base plates are pretty fucking heavy.
Right, yeah, you got gear haul around. Yeah, same thing. So like so back to hunting, same thing with like gear hauling shit around in the woods. Like for me, back to it, we were talking about bowels and shitting yourself and stuff. For me, I always never really had that many issues with my fucking bowels. Lo and behold, Murphy's Law. But for me, the biggest thing, really, I've always is frustration is the core support, no abs.
Yeah.
Because that's back onto like how I hunt and stuff. It depends on the outing, how you're going out. For example, if I'm sitting sometimes in a blind for long periods of time, I have a tripod. I toss my rifle on the tripod. I can lock it in. It's, facing what my field of fire is going to be, hopefully, based off the area I'm scanning. And that also depends, too, like on the kind of rifle I'm using. Like if I have because I have a heavy-ass 308 I built up, kind of a precision style, somewhere in the realm of, 15, 17 pounds.
Is that a bolt action or a semi?
It's bolt.
Yeah.
Versus, like, I love hunting with my 300 Blackout pistol that I keep suppressed. So that, with my suppressor on it, the whole thing is still shorter than my 16-inch AR I sold. And then that's lightweight and handy, and I love hunting with that. I took a whitetail this past December in Georgia with it. I shot him with the Hornady 190 grain sub-X bullets.
All right.
They're subsonic, so I have a 9-inch barrel 300 Blackout. I've never chronographed it, but based off of what they say the speeds are for the barrels, I'm guessing it's probably somewhere in the realm of 900, maybe 950 feet per second. Slow little guy, 190 bullet. That bullet expanded and went straight through that deer. It did not stop it. I mean, it made a nice wound channel, and that deer went, I'd say, no more than 30 yards and just fell over dead.
Right.
And I was like, and that's one of the things I've been interested in. Sorry, we're going to go off on guns, but this ties into hunting. Why I've been interested, because us being military guys, I mean, I'm a gun guy first and foremost. Love firearms. I'm a nerd about them. And I obviously like my military arms, That's what got me interested in the 300 Blackout round. Because you take your standard AR. The only difference is you have a 30 caliber barrel in it. Everything else is the same.
Yeah, I've noticed a lot more people are starting to use that for small game.
And people, it got a lot of popularity too because if you know anything about the cartridge, it's not AK knockdown or I don't want to use the word knockdown. It's not quite AK energy. I'm talking AK. I'm talking 7.62 by 39. But it's damn near close to it compared to like 5.56. Because again, you're stuffing a 30 caliber bullet into a neck down 5.56 case.
Yeah.
So you can go anywhere from like little 110 grainers, which you can be your fastest ones, have the most energy, all the way up to your real heavy 220 grain. And that's where you get your subsonic ones. And that's the reason why the 300 Blackout is really popular in AR, because your supersonics, you're going to have your most energy there, obviously, your most power. but then you can also throw in your subsonics and it'll cycle it with suppressed. And it is quiet.
Yeah.
And that's what got me interested, because yes, it's quiet. And then two is when you're looking at ballistics, and ballistics is more complicated than I think people really make it out to be, because it's the same thing as, like, I like to compare ballistics when you look at your feet per second and your foot-pounds of energy are the kind of, I view it the same way as looking at a car as looking at the horsepower and the torque.
Yeah.
And those are just figures to give you a better understanding. Just because one car has more horsepower than the car next to it on the race line does not mean the car with more horsepower is going to win the race around the track. And so there's a lot of stuff that goes into bullets, ballistic coefficient, sectional density, things like that. The bullet design itself, how it expands. And so and I had heard from people, like from my local gun shop, and they're like, yeah, I've had some customers, I went and buy some subsonic ammo and I wanted some hollow points, because originally that was going to be like my home defense gun for my wife.
I was going to say, can you hunt with hollow points?
Yes.
You can?
Yeah, you're not, it's illegal to hunt with full metal jackets. So I got that, and I was like, that was supposed to be, like my home defense gun, real quiet, suppressed inside the house. You're not gonna have the concussion. It's not gonna fuck with my wife if, God forbid, she has to shoot an intruder or something. It's gonna help her keep her calm and lay rounds down range, right?
Yeah.
Well, then I'm talking to the guys at the gun shop, and he's like, yeah, we had some customers actually shoot some deer with one of these rounds, subsonic. I was like, really? And I started doing some research on the internet and seeing people do it too. So I was like, fuck it, I'll try it. So I bought a box, loaded them up, zeroed it, and then I went to Georgia, and that's what I shot that deer with. Yeah. And after that, and seeing again the wound channel and the fact that it couldn't even stop the bullet, I was really impressed, and I was like, I want to do more testing with this. And so I've actually been that's what I take out now, hunting a 300 blackout with subsonic rounds. And
well, what are most of your distances when you're shooting?
Okay, so that really depends the game you're hunting and geographically where you're hunting. So where I was at, just for example, I'll use where I was at with my family's property. Their pasture, theoretically, if I was one on end of the pasture looking all the way across the other end, I forget how many yards it is. I don't know. It's not 500 yards. I don't know, maybe 4. I can't remember. But like from where, because I always keep a rangefinder with me, because I actually don't even own a pair of binoculars, again, trying to accumulate gear. But I also like it because it weighs a lot less, and I just use it like a binocular, fixed power, and then same time I range. So yeah. And I like to practice with my mind while I'm out too, like guesstimate how far do you think that is, and I'm saying it's probably about this far, and then I'll range it like, oh, I was off, and I do that to practice stuff. But where I was hunting, when I was blind hunting, I was never more than 150 yards away from where tree lines were, where I would be shooting something, coming out of the trees. Now, when I go like up in the woods and stuff, depending on the trails, yes, depending how the trees are, you can see maybe something far away, but I'm not going to take a shot at it because I don't have a good view of it. If it's moving, even not with any speed, just moving through the trees at, 100, 200 yards away, I'll never be able to get a good shot off. Yeah. A lot of times you're looking at 50 yards or less. I mean, the old, lever action 30-30 is America's deer cartridge. It always has been, because a lot of hunting again, it's on location. It can be done really short ranges when you're in the thick of it.
Yeah. Now that's kind of the point I was trying to make, is like, most of these shots that we're taking, it's 200 yards or less, to be honest with you.
Right. And that really depends, again, the game you're hunting and the terrain. Like, for example, if you're hunting on you went at Marks, there are places out there, if you see something And again too, you have to identify what you're shooting. Like, hey, I know that's a deer, but I can't tell if it has horns. I can't tell how many horns it has.
Right.
You know, if you don't have binoculars, if you don't have a magnified scope, I mean, good luck having a well-placed shot on it, let alone knowing if it's just the deer you want to kill.
Yeah.
So again, like places out there, like, yeah, you'd be shooting up to 200 yards. I know there's places on this place you could easily shoot up to 300, 400, 500 yards, but
yeah.
I've never been in a situation where I've seen something like that and like, oh, I need to take a shot. Like, because I view it as far as hunting is, let's get closer. That's what hunting's about. Now, to digress, I've never actually gone elk hunting, and I'm going to actually go for the first time this fall with my dad and his crew. Elk hunting is a completely different game. And most of my knowledge I get is obviously passed down from my father, the things he's taught me through his actual life experiences, all the elk he's killed, the different ranges, and then obviously all the other information I learned, reading magazines and, listen to, meat eater podcasts and crap like that. But he tells me it's like, it's not rare to have shots at least 500 yards or always longer.
Right.
We're going to change from elk, but like speaking of, my dad has an antelope mount that was, it's funny. It's always mounted in mine and my brother's bedroom growing up. There's a big antelope head in our bedroom and a plaque, and I don't remember the yardage, but he shot that like at 870 something yards.
It's a hell of a shot.
Or whatever.
What was he using?
I don't remember. Larger caliber.
It had been like a 30-06 or bigger.
Oh no, it was a Magnum cartridge.
Yeah.
300 Wood Mag or something that can reach out that far and actually lay down some oomph. When it hits something.
Yeah.
So it really all depends. Yes, it depends on the game, but a lot of it really has to depend on the area that you're hunting. What the land looks like.
Yeah, I'm trying to get on. When I was out in Yellowstone last year, I was out in Cody, Wyoming at the Buffalo Bill Museum.
Oh right, yeah, that's cool as shit.
Oh yeah, I did that. Well, I was in the gun museum there.
I could spend hours there.
I did. Because it's it's the Museum of the West, but it's like 4 or 5 different museums. I think I spent a good 4 hours in the gun. I need to go back there.
It is badass.
Yeah. But one of the guys I think he was one of the curators. He just came up and was like, handed me a business card, and it was I'm trying to remember the name of the organization, but it was a group that takes disabled veterans out elk hunting.
Right.
So I was like, fuck, I need to get on board with them. And there was another group in Texas that had contacted me about some axis deer. So I was looking into that. Just right now, I'm kind of like in this limbo period with Team US. So I'm trying to figure out like if make one more push towards the 2020 Paralympics. But yeah, after 2020, I think I'm going to close the book on my rugby career.
Close that chapter.
And well, not for good. I mean, I'm still going to play still going to play like the rec ball.
But your very competitive side of it.
Yeah, exactly. Like the elite level where, I'm dedicating the hours I need to be at the top level of, my classification and everything.
Right.
But yeah, the next little phase of my life, I think it's going to be just mostly scuba diving and then just hunting.
Yeah.
I think my goal this year is I want to at least bag a deer and possibly an elk. But like after September, I don't want to have to buy red meat at a grocery store.
Put in for tags. I do not remember the deadline, but the deadline might already be up, or it might.
No, it is May 15th for Oregon. I got.
Right, you're right. Yeah, it is 15th. So yeah.
That was 8 days ago. Yeah, I put in for elk and deer out at Mark's property, fall bear, and cougar.
Right. Yeah. No, that's all I'm really trying to do right now is find. Obviously you gotta go based off the seasons of when it's available, and then from there, find more states to go to that have longer seasons, so I can just hunt as much as I can year round. Because you can, I got my good buddy Rick. He is the most avid hunter I've ever met. I mean, he hunts year round. I'll call him up, hey man, you want to go out and grab beer tonight? I don't know, I'm going hunting in the morning. Like,
yeah,
I should have known. Kind of thing. But again, it depends too what kind of hunting you want to do. And to be honest, like, there's a lot of bird hunting you can do. I don't like bird hunting. I have no interest in it.
You don't like bird meat or just the bird hunt?
A little bit of both. I don't care for the bird meat. I am first and foremost a red meat eater. So I like my elk. I like my deer. I've never tried bear other than the little jerky handouts you get places. I would love to eat some bears.
Did you watch the meat eater episode about sandhill crane in Texas?
I probably have.
The episode's called Ribeye of the Sky.
Oh, yeah.
But, yeah, I got a couple, there's a family that's in the, my, like, Life Waters dive group. They live down outside of Houston, right. And they do a lot of bird hunting down there.
Right.
Mostly quail, which I hear is,
I've done a lot of upland, well, not a lot. I've done some upland bird hunting with my dad growing up, and that was something I was actually thinking about too, as far as this podcast and like adaptive hunting, because duck hunting you do from a blind. You're sitting by a body of water. That's pretty easy for you go out in your track chair and you recline all the way back. You get I'm not saying it's easy because I haven't done it since I've been hurt, but in my mind it sounds easy to set up. Now,
and we have accessible deer blinds, or not deer, sorry, duck blinds here.
Yeah, out at Savi's. Now, upland bird hunting is different. You're putting in the miles on old fields, right?
Yeah.
Your track chair, I'm sorry, you're just not going to get much distance. Like, the amount of walking I remember doing as a kid with my dad, because we'd go with people with bird dogs and stuff. The amount of walking you do is like, there's no way I can get that battery life out of my track chair to be able to do a thorough game bird hunt like that. But again, me too, I don't really care for the meat as much.
I love bird.
So I don't feel like I don't care that I'm missing out. I don't care to really try that much.
Like quail, dove, duck. I really want to, after watching that episode on Meat Eater, I really want to try sandhill crane, but
yeah, no, I hear it's very good.
Yeah. I was supposed to go on a quail hunt in Iowa back in March, but they were just saying the weather was going to suck and there wasn't enough birds, so might be able to reschedule that for October. But if I can't make it, would you be interested in going out to Iowa and doing some bird hunting? They pretty much provide everything, and trying to remember the name of the fucking gun manufacturer that's they kind of sponsor everything. Fucking slipping my mind now, but I could always look that information up and send it to you, but we'll see what happens.
I'm always down to go hunting. So yeah, sure. I don't try to go bird, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I look forward to big game hunting.
For sure.
I don't know. I always thought it was more fun, also dangerous game hunting too. Not that I really consider North America. I mean, grizzly bear, I think, is the only thing that's considered a dangerous game. I don't know if I would consider black bear a dangerous game, or even cougar, in my opinion. But I still enjoy it.
A bear will actively seek and try to fuck you up.
But I mean, I don't know. It's more exciting.
Yeah. Or even, dude, I wouldn't even mind going out to Texas and helping out with the feral hog population down there.
That is another thing, and too, and that in my mind, I'm told I really want to do that, but in my mind, that's a little bit a different kind of hunt. I don't know if I consider that hunting. I consider more of that like firearms practice.
It's more shooting.
And like, I can't speak from experience because I know we're starting to get them. They're slowly migrating their way into Southern Oregon.
Oh yeah.
I have not been out on a hog hunt in Texas. I've watched the videos. I know they say
there's insane
they're
amounts of
fucking
videos
rampant and everywhere. And if honestly, for me, from a gun standpoint, yeah, I just want like, cause I got a couple of suppressors I finally got back for, my paperwork back. So yeah, no, I just want to take my guns out and just go, blast away at some hogs. And I've eaten wild hog, and it is good. I don't know, anybody tells you, if you don't think it's good, you probably just don't know how to cook.
Well, there's a lot of people that just they won't eat the meat. I know a lot of Texas locals that they just, they shoot them and they throw them in the carcass pile just because it is a fucking feral hog that's going to eat garbage and dead carcasses. It pretty much is going to eat anything it comes across, and you just never know how like safe that meat's going to be. But I
don't know if I would consider farmed hog that safe either.
Right. Yeah. But
so
I heard,
it doesn't bother me, to be honest.
I heard the hogs out in Hawaii are fucking delicious though.
I can see that.
Yeah, I want to get into that. And,
I just want to go to Hawaii. I've never been to Hawaii.
Never been?
No, never been.
Oh man, Hawaii's one of those places, like, it's cool and it's what you make of it. It's not really my style of like travel, because
right. But it's something like on my butt. Like I just want to go there at some point in life.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and there's enough like nature trails that you can get on and go do some hiking out there that
right.
that I'd like to do. When I went, it was just for my cousin's wedding. So we stayed at like a resort, and
right.
they had their wedding on the beach, and it was, in Lahaina. So it was pretty much a tourist town. And
right.
I was just like, this is cool and all, but you can go to Southern California or Puerto Vallarta, and get the same effect.
No, I totally
nice weather, cheap drinks.
Right. I totally get what you're saying. Yeah, no, for me, like, my ultimate vacation is like hunting. It is being out in the woods. It is being where there aren't other people. It is the peace, and it is the quiet. The sounds are the sounds of the wind blowing through the trees. And
we're still like amateurs in this game, but I think eventually down the road, you, me, and Jeff need to figure out a way to go on an African hunt.
I would love to. I need to save up.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. This is way down the line.
Right. Oh, I would. That is like, yeah. No,
but I think that's a bucket list.
That's one of those things that I have a lot of ideas in mind for our upcoming YouTube channel, and that'll be one of the long-term goals, is to see some dudes in wheelchairs out hunting Cape buffalo or whatever.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of gimp hunters out there. I didn't realize it.
There are. The only other place I've really heard from another gimp hunter talking was actually on the Meat Eater podcast. I don't really remember which episode number it is, but Ranella had on a quadriplegic who hunts.
Oh yeah.
And that was interesting.
Dude, you're gonna have to look that up and send that to me.
Oh well. He's a quad, and he talked about mainly just first started hunting from his van. He would road hunt, do a lot of time driving from the you got to go out in the boonies, you got to get away from people, but glassing and spotting, and then when he found something somewhere he could take a shot, he would talk about how they would open up the side door of the van. And I don't know what his van setup was, if he had to retransfer or if he was in a power chair, but he would, then take his chair and move to the opening on the door and then shoot out from the van. And so that definitely is too, when we're talking about like ways how you hunt from wheelchair. Obviously, if you want to be legal and go, do your appropriate paperwork through your state. I feel like most states, I know Oregon allows it.
We were talking about UTVs and side-by-sides, but getting like a 4-seater Ranger or one of those Polaris Generals.
Definitely. That's, and that's something I would love to do when me and my wife moved to our next property, because we look to expand and have a larger piece of property. Something I would want anyways, just for, getting around my place. Not, because again, you can only go so far in a track chair. I love it. It is a great tool. It has opened up a lot of doors, but it is very limited.
Right.
Not in what it can do, because they are great pieces of equipment. I have gone down some nasty stuff. I have climbed over fallen trees, but you're just limited.
The last guest I had on, he's actually related to the founder creator of the action track chair.
Oh, that's cool.
So he was checking out my setup, and I was showing him a couple of things that I think we should tweak. But I'm gonna message him after this and be like, dude, I was just talking with one of the guys, and I'm gonna pitch up that idea about the battery expansion kit.
Right.
I think that especially for hunters, and it seems like a lot of GIMP hunters are using the action track chair just because it's from what I've heard, I haven't used any of the other off-road chairs,
right,
or the track chairs,
right.
But from what I've heard, the action track chair is the best.
It's the best, yeah. So Jeff had this one. I don't know if this was the actual name. We call it the 6x6 or whatever, I think.
Oh, I've seen that. The 6-wheeler.
Yeah, it's got 3 wheels on each side. Normal looking tires. They got a little bit of tread. Not aggressive. And the thing was quick. Now the thing actually got you somewhere quickly, but again, the problem versus you talking these kind of balloonish style tires with not the most aggressive tread versus the track chair. We were in Missouri together, out in some not so quite a swamp, kind of boggish, and we're looking for hogs,
but like thick mud.
Thick, sandy.
Yeah.
And his shit gets stuck. And it's again, too, just us two by ourselves, like out in the fucking, nobody knows where we're at. And so he gets stuck, and he's not going anywhere. So I would come up behind him, get a little distance, and then go as fast as I could and ram him to try to, get him stuck. And they wouldn't go. So, I mean, you got to be innovative. So what do you do to get out? Jeff has to crawl out into the mud and push his thing out covered in mud and shit, and then climb back up on it to keep go hunting. So, I mean,
that's why you guys need to start carrying a GoPro, because fucking Jeff always gets himself into these situations where he's rolling out of his track chair,
right,
or tipping that thing over.
That's what we have to deal with, and that's what you have to do.
Yeah.
Because
he's like the best guy built for it, because he's just like, the guy's a fucking survivor, and he's just gonna figure it out, and he's gonna adapt and just figure his shit out, dude.
Right.
So.
And then if we talk about other just little ways how we do stuff, for example, when I would just stay in my normal wheelchair, or sometimes I would actually also do it too for my track chair, but jump up on the back of a flatbed trailer and someone would just tow me around.
Yeah.
And I'm just sitting there chilling from my wheelchair.
Yeah. That's what I liked about hunting at Mark's.
And then, pop out all right, we're dropping you off in this area. And, you have a certain radius you can go under your own, how energetic you are that day, or versus the same thing if you're going on batteries.
That was just one of the coolest parts about hunting with Mark, was he's just like, all right, man, drive up on the back of this. It was Bobcat's UTV,
right?
Which, the bed was wide enough where you can get a standard track chair in there. And then they would just cruise around, and you're up in an elevated position. Almost, you felt it was kind of weird, because
you're like the gunner in a Humvee.
Exactly, that's exactly what I was getting at. You feel like you're in a turret of a Humvee, and you're just like, you got the best vantage point, and if you see anything,
except you don't have a fun switch.
Yeah, true.
Sucks. Yeah, no, I'm very grateful for not just Mark, but other people like him, other organizations like that do help disabled people get out to hunt, and do have property, do have equipment that just makes it that's us that much more mobile to get around. But ultimately, my true love and passion is the challenge of hunting as if I were still an able-bodied person, how my dad took me out as a kid. You put a pack on your back and you're huffing it through the woods.
Makes the harvest taste sweeter, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. Yeah. Especially, and it's not, I don't want to sound arrogant like I'm bragging, but it really does make it that much more satisfying when you can't walk in the woods and you put in some fucking work for that shit, and you're tired and you haven't slept and you fucking have shit in your pants, piss in your pants, you're fucking freezing, that's another thing too about the one downside of the track chair is, because you're not expending any energy in it. You're
Yeah.
not getting any blood flow. You got to layer up. You got to be prepared on where you're going because it can get cold real fast in that chair.
Yeah.
That's another thing I do. I got to get prepared for elk hunting this fall, as I got to start shopping and get myself a couple good base layers and then some better outer layers. Because, I mean, elk hunting in eastern Oregon, it gets, down to about 15 degrees every night.
Yeah.
And, when you can't walk and you can't keep your blood flowing like
circulation
everybody else,
in your legs.
oh, man, you talk about fucking freezing up real quick.
We went out in October, out over at Mark's, and I want to say it was just hovering above like freezing in the mornings.
Right.
It'd warm up to about 46.
Right.
But yeah, a good pair of boots and socks, vital. Some good base layers.
Good long underwear, because again, protect those legs, because those legs aren't pushing that blood around.
Yeah, that's I got a pair of like compression leggings.
Right.
That help keep your blood circulating. And again, it wasn't really like super cold, so I didn't really get too cold.
Right. I like keeping rain gear, something to help repel the rain.
Oh, absolutely.
Being in Oregon,
well, once you're wet, you're fucked.
Especially on the east side of the mountains.
Yeah.
Like, even fucking rainstorm just come in out of the blue.
Oh yeah. And then once you're wet, you're so fucked.
Exactly. And like I said, going back to my shit story, like sitting in the fucking rain covered in shit, like my legs were ice. You know, by the time I got back to the tent. And so again, you keep stuff on hand. It's preparedness, like all that kind of stuff. We talked about. You're taught in the Marine Corps. It's the same concept.
Did you when you guys were out bear hunting, did you guys have any like propane heaters, little buddy heaters or anything?
Buddy heater. Jeff used that fucker all night long.
Little Mr. Buddy or whatever.
Yeah, buddy. They run off the little single canister propane, and those are great to have. Because again, it's small. They put out a lot of heat for what they are. Yeah, they're not gonna like heat up a large space to make it nice and cozy. But when you are cold, you just sit right in front of it until you rewarm. Put on some dry clothes and sit in front of it until your body temperature restabilizes.
Yeah. I do that here when it's cold in my legs, or I could tell like my legs are cold. I'll just go sit in front of a space heater.
Right.
Or for extreme measures, like just hit yourself with a hair dryer.
Right. So when me and Jeff were hunting, he would keep on running every night in the tent, and we would let it go out once it ran out. But on some nights it rained all night long, and it got a lot colder. And like I said, we're just in a little $40 Ozark tent, like not a good tent, like a normal, what you think of like a big, like when I went with my dad, he brings a cabin's tent. So he got a nice tent. So yeah, it's nice to have that going just in the background, not just to be pumping out extra heat. I mean, it's good for anybody, able-bodied or not. I mean, if you're comfortable, you're comfortable. If you're freezing, you're freezing. But that is the aspect. Being crippled is blood flow is an issue because you can't use your legs. You can't pump that blood around. So that's one of the biggest things I've realized dealing with in the woods. And again, I talk about the track chair because it's funny. I'll be out somewhere and you're in your track chair for hours on end, sitting in stands or something, and the wind's blowing and you're just sitting there freezing. Like, you know what I mean? As soon as you get back to camp, transfer out of that thing and start pushing around the ground and camp in your normal chair, you start warming up right again, getting your blood moving. But, so that's one of the other, I wouldn't say difficulties, but one of the things always back in my mind, or I tell other people in chairs, like, you got to prepare the fact that hunting, generally with hunting seasons, you're going to be cold. It's cold out there in the wilderness. But being is that if you have a spinal cord injury in your wheelchair, your parrot, whatever, you're going to be colder than the able-bodied people. That's a fact. So that's something you have to prepare for.
I haven't done much or any tent camping.
Right.
When I was checking out tents over at like REI, did you have any problems getting into the tent with just the way the door opening was set up?
No, you just like
you got to just pop a wheelie.
You just pop a little light wheelie to get in. Same thing out. And then there from two. So then this is all going to come to your also like your ability level. You're transferring if you can do like ground transfers or not. I bring a cot because that's just what I have. I don't have an air mattress currently. Again, limited on gear, and so I don't see the need to just go buy a bunch of shit. I slowly develop my gear section. So I sleep on a cot. Just have a sleeping bag, put it on the cot. Jeff brings an air mattress, pumps it up, and then just gets out of his chair and sleeps on an air mattress on the ground. Either or works. Whatever you like. I mean, you can go real cheap and go Marine Corps and get yourself an ISO mat. Although I don't know if that's the best for our skin.
Yeah. I think
with pressure sores.
One of the setups that I saw that I like, and I'm gonna kind of do some more research on it, but it was just a standard cot with a cot tent.
Yeah, Jeff showed me he has one of those, and those I've seen those. They're cool. But again, you gotta be careful where you use them. I've gone a lot of places over my life with my dad and my uncles and family, camping all over Oregon, eastern, southern Oregon, and I'm gonna tell you right now, I don't think like something like that will hold up to the storms that show up.
Yeah.
Like a funny story. No one's gonna get this except for any of my family ever listens to this. But my most favorite place in the state of Oregon is a place called Strawberry Lake. And that's a place that is going to be a challenge that I want to do for our YouTube channel, is how to get GIMPs up to Strawberry Lake, because it's
I think you were telling me about this last time we hung out.
But the funny story is, so anyways, my family growing up, my family would always go with one of my cousin Joe, his family, my Uncle Blaine, and we get up there every year. And my dad to this day always does this. Like, it's not just like a precaution, it's an SOP. You bring a blue tarp to lay over the top of your tent and take that down as the extra layer to keep stuff out.
Yeah.
Every single year going camp, we'd always go camping during the summertime up the Strawberry Lake campground and go to lake. My Uncle Blaine always forgot a tarp, and my aunt would be so pissed, and he'd have to drive back down to Prairie City and go to the store and buy a tarp, because every single year thunderstorms just roll in and out just like that. Next thing you're like, oh, looks like we're gonna get a thunderstorm here in the next 30 minutes. Boom, big loud thunderstorm, just pissing fucking rain on you, going right through the tent. Like, I don't care like how nice of a tent you have. Like, if you're in some like area like that, you're gonna wish you had a tarp.
Right.
And that's one of the ways too. Like, also is I'll still do it too now, but like just like you're sleeping outside, in a foxhole or something. Like, I go with my dad and we'd stop somewhere on the way to hunting on a trip, and we'd have to stop somewhere for the night because we weren't there yet and it's late, and we're tired, don't want to drive. So if you don't make camp, you just get out, lay your sleeping bag on the ground, and then just pull the tarp over the top of you like a blanket to keep the rain off of you. Cause same way you do like a poncho, in a fighting hole or something. But that's simplicity at its most, and I enjoy it, but that also, not everybody's ready to dive into that level of, hardcore.
Yeah. I think eventually, we had talked a little bit last time we hung out about like teardrop trailers and stuff. And originally I thought that was going to be the way to go, for GIMPs and stuff. But, I was thinking about, having my buddy build a trailer that's like capable of carrying your track chair, but then also having it set up where you have like awnings that you can pull out, where for guys like us, it's going to be convenient because the awning's only going to have to be like 5 feet tall.
Right.
And then you can pull out your awning, set up a little mini base camp there, and then have like different like utility boxes that have like, camping stoves and propane tanks. And
it all depends like what level you want to go and what I like to call glamping. you know, because there's a lot of people who do that. I mean, don't get me wrong, I just bought a trailer, but I mean, at the same time, I mean, there's dudes with these massive trailers and they got all kinds of gadgets and gizmos, and I'm, you know, and it, like I said, it took me a while to finally agree to buy it. And I got it from my wife, realizing she doesn't have to be like me. She doesn't have to like or even need to do hardcore style camping like me. I like the hardcore style because I feel it keeps me in check mentally as a man.
Well, it's also just finding those challenges, like after your injury.
It's a challenge, but only that. I mean, it's cost effective. I mean, you can go go right now. Like, and I challenge anybody that's in a wheelchair to try it. Like, all you need, if again, it might be limited if you can transfer in and out of your chair to the ground. If not, you know, buy yourself a cot. But cots aren't too expensive. A good sleeping bag, and tarp, and then like I have one of those little $50 Weber grills that takes a little single cans of propane. You set that on the ground. You have a basic, you know, $40 Igloo cooler with ice in it. Like, you don't need shit to go camping.
I think that's the biggest kind of like misconception that people have is like, I want to go camping, but it's just expensive. It's like,
no, it's not.
It's only expensive if you want it to be. If you want those extra luxuries, then
right. I mean, if you want those luxuries, fine. That's how you spend your money. But I feel like a lot of people are just pussies and afraid to try the real shit. Because I mean, honestly, there's no difference between camping and like what the shit we did in like the Marine Corps, like boot camp, SOI, MCT, or if you're in like, I mean, you think about it, you're out in the field, you're given an MRE, here's the shit in it, you have the stuff to prepare it, to cook it, you have your bag on you to sleep in at night, a poncho to keep the rain off of you. It's really no different. The only issues you have are the mobility from a wheelchair standpoint. I mean, and you're going to make camp somewhere anyways where it's fairly flat, you know. And that's
just talking like just camping, like, you know, I mean, research the campground and just find something suitable. Like, it doesn't have to be,
or just go out in the national forest. Like, that's where I'm taking my wife next weekend. Literally just Forest Service roads and national forest, and just find a nice spot and just enjoy the peace and quiet, because there won't be fucking anybody around.
Right. Yeah. The national forest is like one of those, I feel like people need to start utilizing them a lot more, because you know, the national parks kind of get all the glory, but there's plenty of like just natural forest that you're able to find.
And I mean, that's where so much where the glamping comes in, because then people, and I hope I don't sound weird saying for someone who just bought a toy hauler, but like, I don't have a TV in it, and I'm not putting a TV in it. I mean, I went to back before we bought this, me and my wife, you know, went to the RV show here in Portland, and there's like, I see like all these crazy trailers. I mean, they're like fucking $50,000.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, the motherfuckers,
the
like,
sound systems.
They have two fucking kitchens. Like, you have like the normal fucking kitchen inside the trailer, and then there's a pop-out one on the outside, and then there's a fold-out TV on the outside too. It's like, you ain't fucking camping. You just have a mobile house. You know what I mean? Like, this isn't camping. Like, camping in the woods is you don't have electronics. You don't have society.
Yeah, my
camping is about detoxing.
My trailer's, you know, pretty much the essentials that you just need. I mean, we have you know, a kitchen and a stove. We don't have an oven in it. We got a microwave and a fridge.
That's standard for
you know, and a fridge, but
standard.
like that's and a sink, you know, with running water. But like, you don't necessarily need any of that. Like, and that, you know what? Like, I think maybe I think at some point this summer I'm gonna actually just go do some.
Come along with me and Jeff.
Some boondock camping.
Come along with me and Jeff. Shit, if you want to go, as soon as I get these new tires on my truck, I'll take you up to where me and Jeff, well, let's say down in the south, down to where we were in the Siskiyous. And because I'm just gonna, because again, me and my wife have not actually had a maiden voyage yet with our trailer. We've been trying to acclimate our dogs to sleeping in it. We slept with them out in it to get them used to it. But like I said, so we're gonna try to go out 2 weekends from now, and it's like just short. Like, I'm just gonna go out 1, maybe 2 nights, just for her to, like, you know, get a feel for being out in the woods, how things work. Like, I'm not even gonna transfer her into the shitter. I'm just gonna do the same thing, set my commode chair up outside, dig a hole and shit. And that's how, if I piss myself, I need to shower, same thing. Strip down in the cold, grab a bar of soap, wash off real quick.
Yeah,
you're gonna be cold, but you won't die.
Bring a lot of baby wipes.
Baby wipes are your best friend as a gift.
we got into some pretty good details a couple podcast episodes ago about just the love affair that veterans have with baby wipes, because we learn that good. Like
right, and so like I mean that's like I remember like in boot camp that's how they teach you. I learned a lot of this, not the war fighting aspect. They teach you to be in the Marine Corps, but like the outdoor aspect. I learned a lot of that already as a kid from my dad. Being out in the woods, because I also used to do what I miss is backpacking. I go backpacking with my dad, where you had to live out of everything that went in your pack on your back, what you hauled in. You have all your food, your clothes, what you had to survive. You bring your fishing pole and you go somewhere where there's water nearby to enjoy some fishing. So I love that kind of stuff. But yeah, definitely baby wipes are always on the menu. So one of the things I always keep in my bag when I pack, always have plenty of spare trash bags. Nasty ass clothes. Another one just for all the fucking dirty ass baby wipes. And then two, I'll tell you right now, if you're caught somewhere, like if we talk about being prepared somewhere like in Oregon where you have rain all the time, if you don't want to travel with rain gear, or you don't think, hey, today looks nice, I won't need rain gear, having a trash bag is still handy when a fucking dew starts raining.
Makeshift poncho.
Yep. Like, because it takes no room up in your bag.
Yeah.
Fold that fucker up nicely. So, yeah.
Or even just getting a legit poncho. It doesn't take up much room either. You'd stuff that in just a small pocket.
Especially because I need to find, there used to be an Army surplus store out in Damascus.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't know where I know, like.
I just drove by one the other day. I'm trying to fucking remember where it was.
I think they're still up and running. I think they moved locations, and I don't know where they moved to.
Yeah, there used to be one right off of 82nd.
Was there?
And Flavel near.
And not there anymore?
No, it's like a fucking convenience store now. But where the fuck? I just drove by one not that long ago, out like near Sandy or Gresham. But there is a pretty big warehouse size one here.
I think it's in Sandy.
Mm-hmm.
I'll have to check it out. But no, that's a great place too. Like, talk about affordable. I don't want to go down the road of mil-spec, because everybody thinks mil-spec's awesome, and the dudes in the mil-spec are like, fuck mil-spec.
That's the fucking craziest. Just real quick tangent. That's the dumbest fucking marketing gimmick that people fall for. Is like. And the specific example I'm going to bring up is Ford's new military grade aluminum beds, and it's like
piece of shit.
Do you know what military grade means, right? It's the fucking lowest bidder.
You're gonna build the bed of your truck out of aluminum? I'm sorry, you can't win me over on that conversation.
Well, it's when you bring up military grade, it's like, yeah. It's
just a selling point.
That's all it is. It's a marketing buzzword.
It's great marketing because the military has it. It must be great. No, motherfucker. The military took the cheapest fucking bid.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, all right, the lowest bidder that meets our minimum qualifications.
Exactly. We have these standards. All 5 of these companies' products meet these standards, so we're going to pick the cheapest one.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't mean that they're all the same level. They just met the standard. There could have been way better ones, but of course the price matches.
Right.
But to digress, there still are a lot of good basic pieces of gear you can get from a military
our
store.
sleep system.
Oh, yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah.
So I fucking I'm going to talk shit a minute on REI. I bought an REI bag a couple years ago. I know REI has a big name. Again, we're talking about brands, and I get pretty renowned. I feel like most people in the outdoors know the name REI.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they're like one of the biggest outfitters.
So I bought an REI bag several years ago and only, I think, used it twice. Hadn't done a whole lot of, camping or hunting. And so this first hunting trip I went on this year with Jeff was the first time I busted it back out of my closet. Been collecting dust in my closet for years. Excuse me. And never really, I didn't look at it that much when I bought it. I did just like the whole mil spec thing. I said, oh, it's REI. I'll just fucking buy it.
Yeah.
Well, motherfucker tore on me out hunting along the seam of the zipper, and I got the name. I'm the nickname of the chicken fornicator. Looked like I was fucking a chicken, because the whole inside of the tent was just the damn little fucking white chicken feathers everywhere.
Yeah.
Lost so much stuffing in it,
Fucking A.
and then so it's not till after the course the things are ripped and I'm losing all the stuffing in it, you know. Then I actually examine the bag, and they're just crappy little single line stitches to hold everything in. And I was like, I don't remember what I paid for this bag, but I mean, it was a 3-digit figure for this bag. I'm like thinking to myself, what a piece of shit. Like the bags that I remember using as a kid that kept me warm all the time and held up my dad bought, he bought them from fucking Costco for like $40.
Dude, the crazy thing, at some point, like we used to manufacture goods to last, and not just limited to like packs and clothes, but like appliances.
People are greedy.
And now it's like, I swear to God, things are built to just fucking fail. So you always have to replace them.
New one.
Yeah, and that's why there's new iPhones every year. There's new, Android phones and
consumerism, materialism.
Yeah, they just shit doesn't last. I mean, there's still good quality things. I mean, like this Nalgene bottle is gonna fucking outlast anything.
Right.
It's
the Marine
indestructible.
Corps, but I heard from my little brother, the Marine Corps just replaced canteens with Nalgene bottles.
Well, they make Nalgene makes a canteen shape.
Oh, really? Maybe that's what he was saying.
I wonder.
Yeah, but he's saying they're Nalgene or whatever.
Well, dude, I don't know if you fucking ever looked at the bottom of your canteen that you got like in boot camp or something, but mine was 1968. Had a year on it, 1968.
I don't remember.
The other one was like 1975.
I don't remember the year on him, but it was pre-Vietnam. That's all I remember.
Yeah.
It was old.
Yeah, that canteen made us all look like boots, man. I was just like, holy shit, like this could have been the canteen like my uncle used.
Right. Right. Yeah, so there's that's something I pay attention to. Like I guess I like to think I always pay attention to good quality when I'm like, I do my research when I buy something.
Dude,
but now having things fail on me, especially when you're losing the stuffing in your sleeping bag and you're trying to sleep in the woods, like not only is that pain in the ass, because again, it looks like you're roaming around inside a chicken coop, but it's like I'm losing all the stuffing. There slowly goes my warmth that keeps me warm at night. And so, yeah, no, honestly, the next bag I'm going to get is I'm going to go get one of the sleeping systems that we had in the Marine. I'm just going to go to the Army surplus store, get one of those. Like, and it's, again.
Well, if you go to that store and if they end up having 2 of them, pick me up one.
Right. I need to do research and figure out where they move to. But, yeah, I need to go there because I need to get a new bag. I need to grab an e-tool, because it's a pain in the ass taking around a full-size shovel as a gimp.
Oh, for sure. And
that's what I used to dig my last hole when I was with my dad, to take a fucking dump.
Well, the cool thing about the e-tool is it's
tiny.
It's a short handle, and it's perfect for
when you're
shoveling in a seated position.
Right, when you're already so low to the ground, and it's also perfect because I like the handle on it.
Yeah.
It's got that.
It's even quad friendly.
It's got a horizontal handle versus like I said, like last time I was out digging my shitting hole, like having no balance, so I have to dig one-handed. Try using a standard full-size shovel to dig a hole with one hand. It took me a minute to get my hole ready. Versus like with the e-tool, I was done in less than 60 seconds. So like that's another thing. Again, we talk about mil-spec. What is mil-spec quality? But there's a lot of good, just basic pieces of gear that you can get that are great to have. Like, I'm sure I've never used one of the surplus cots, but I feel like honestly those are just as good as the fancy cots you see at the store.
I think that's a pretty good point you're making, is like a military surplus store is definitely a good alternative to like REI or even like Walmart, because the stuff that you're going to get at a military surplus store is going to be better quality than most of the things you're going to find out at Walmart. It's going to be, actually tested stuff.
And the price point too.
That's the thing.
You're not going to be paying REI prices.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you can afford to go in and buy a bunch of
and
pieces.
then the brand shit you get at REI isn't necessarily going to be the best stuff. And I think And dude, before I do any major purchase, I am researching like a motherfucker on YouTube,
Right.
and I'll just just go on YouTube and just like, what's the best microphone to use for podcasting, or like what's the best audio interface, to anything, like even just like for guns.
Right.
I'll watch 100 videos on like
I do my research on my guns. I do my research on my gun gear.
what caliber,
Right.
or like, hey, like, all right, but right before I just bought a Ruger 30-06
Right.
little Mark II, and I was just like, I wonder, it's a good affordable gun, so I was just like, gonna search on YouTube Ruger Mark II 30-06 review, and I
Right.
found, I don't know, a dozen videos
and
I
so
just watched.
Here's another thing too. When you talking about like people are, I don't know if it's people actually are legitimately just pussies and afraid to go camping, or they get caught up in the materialism of camping and they don't think they have the gear. And it's like, you don't need much. So same thing like with hunting rifles. And I know if anybody like seeing my rifles, I know they're not the cheapest and I got nice ones. But in reality, like, you're dead set to go with that Ruger you just bought.
Yeah.
It's not six. .6 will kill anything on the North American continent.
Yeah, exactly.
You're fucking fine.
Anything from bear down to fucking mountain lion.
And you like, yes, my bolt action I built it like in a chassis. It's precision style. It has a suppressor. It's got a real nice scope on it. But I built that because I am first and foremost a shooter. I like to target shoot. I shoot guns. I like to stay proficient. Yeah. So I built it to be a precision rifle that also is a 308. And I know I could, I loaded with the 178 grain bullets, and I could take down big game with it too. But you don't need no fucking $2,000 rifle to go hunting.
Yeah.
You're okay going and buying the $400 Cabela Special just to get out in the woods and start hunting large game. You absolutely are.
Yeah. Just make sure you put a good, decent scope on it, get the rings tightened down right, and
honestly,
fucking get it sighted in.
Again, like you said, you do your research. Yeah, I would do my research too, watch some reviews, or like, main things down to is if it has acceptable accuracy. And to be honest, the biggest thing in my opinion is really most of your money will spend is in the ammunition.
Oh, absolutely.
Buy the good bullets. Always buy my dad always taught me, buy the heaviest grain you can get for your gun and buy the nicest ones. And so, I mean, that's where a lot of it comes down to, because not to get too much on guns, but so many gun manufacturers are putting out so many damn guns. I mean, for example, the AR-15 market, there's, I don't know how many hundreds of AR manufacturers there are.
I could name 20 right off the top of my head.
I know it's in the 3 digits. I know there's well over 100 manufacturers, and they're all making the same damn gun. And it's like, which one do I pick? Like, is anyone really that much better than the other when you compare them in their price bracket range? Like a premium AR versus the $500 AR. What are you like? You know what I mean? What are you really getting? And I guess where my point goes with that is you're fine just buying a basic, reliable, off the shelf bolt action rifle that's in a acceptable caliber for what it is you're trying to hunt.
Yeah.
And start hunting. You don't have to you don't have to keep waiting until you have all your gear, because here's the thing, you keep waiting, just like if you go camping, I need more gear, I need this and this, and I can finally go out in the woods, and then you're finally going to go out the first time and you won't be successful the first time, and then you realize I didn't use half this fucking shit, or you're like, I don't need this, or like, oh man, like, this rifle's heavy, why do I have such a heavy rifle, or like, I don't need to be carrying all this stuff around, I'm tired from packing all this extra, you know what I mean? It's like you can only learn so much from a book or from like studying or researching. Experience is always the best teacher.
Well, there's that saying, like, it's better to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it, which I think is complete bullshit, because that's how you can always tell, like, the boots from the experience, like vets that have done a couple field ops, because you always have those gear queers that show up with way more shit than they need.
Right.
And they have to pack it all around. It's like, I'd rather fucking deal with the situation without a piece of equipment, and then being like, all right, this is actually vital. Like, okay,
Right.
I'm gonna make sure I bring this next time.
And you have to try to view it. I'm trying to think about where, like, you view it very like methodically, or very systematically, like kind of divide things up into larger breaking blocks of a system, and then look into each one of those things. Like, what do I really need to complete this? For example, I said, like, you don't need much more to go out camping other than a sleeping bag, a tarp, whatever you plan on eating, a basic ass cooler with ice in it, and a little propane grill, and you're good to go.
Something to stay warm, something to stay dry, and something to stay fed.
Exactly. Yeah. You know, I mean, when you look at us like GIMPs, like, okay, then we have the whole other factor of the
somewhere to take a shit.
Yeah, the accessibility of medical things. All right, and I have to make sure I have so much space in my pack to bring all these catheters along. You know, I have to have a commode chair so I can, you know, sit down and take a dump. I even thought of going hardcore on a trip when we, because I think of like all kinds of like fun little things to do for videos when we have this channel. I thought of even going camping without bringing a commode chair and digging a hole and then sitting down and shitting on the hole in the ground and retransferring to my chair, just to show people, quit being fucking pussies. If I can do it, so can you.
Yeah.
Like, if I can't walk and I have to crawl in and out of my wheelchair on the ground to shit, y'all can take a fucking 2 minutes to squat.
Right. I don't think you necessarily have to do that. I think most people are going to be okay with just packing out like a commode chair.
I just thought of doing it I got to do a challenge. You got to go hardcore.
Yeah, no,
you got to test yourself.
Dude,
man.
I think that's why you and Jeff are like the perfect guys to do shit like that. Start a channel and just fucking have fun with it and just show people that, like, hey, like, these are the challenges that we have to fucking face. But if you got the right mindset and the right drive, like, you're going to be able to accomplish.
That's the biggest thing. My wife tells me I lecture her a lot, but I mean, I'm sure I do. I probably do a lot, but I harp on it to everybody who I know. Like, mindset is everything.
Oh, 100%.
It always is your mindset. What you believe, what you think, like, it is the dividing factor if you're gonna actually try something or not.
Yeah, it's
to give up.
It's the resilience. Like, how bad do you really want it? Like, if you really want to do something, you're not gonna fucking give up. Like, you're gonna try, and you're not gonna quit. And then eventually you're gonna hit that breaking point where it's like that eureka moment where it fucking finally clicks and you find the solution. But like, if you don't fucking hammer away at that problem and you just give up on the first, second, third, fourth try, like, you're gonna do that for the rest of your life.
Have you ever? I don't even know if assuming he's an author, maybe he's a poet. You ever heard of D.H. Lawrence?
I haven't.
I've never read anything of his, but I plan on it because have you seen that movie, Hostiles? Christian Bale, the Western. Came out.
Yep.
So I
loved it.
I
loved it.
I love that movie. My most favorite thing about that movie is how it opens up with that quote by D.H. Lawrence.
Oh, yeah.
About the American soul, the American spirit.
Like, essentially is.
I don't know if you can pull it up on your lap. I can maybe try to find it on my phone real quick because I don't want to like butcher it and say it wrong.
Yeah, look that shit up.
But yeah.
One of my while you're looking that up, while we're talking about Hostiles, one of my favorite things about that movie was there was 2 scenes of dialogue that I fucking loved, and it was for those that haven't seen the movie, Christian Bale plays an old salty army captain during the late 1800s, and he's tasked with taking care of the Indians and relocating them out to reservations. But I love the conversation that he has, as an army captain with his commanding officer at the base, where he's like, you're a fucking fobbit. Like, you've never left the wire. You don't know what the fucking, you don't know what it's like out there.
You've never seen a look of war. I remember because I just watched a while ago. He's He's like, you've never seen a lick of war or something. You have no idea
Yeah.
what it does to a man. You're a politician. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah. And then I love the dialogue that he has with his black soldier that ends up getting shot. And
He's like, your daddy would have been proud.
yeah, just that whole conversation.
Oh, that was
just how it played out.
Yeah, no, that was emotional too.
Yeah.
You see, like, especially for the time frame it was.
Yeah.
You know, seeing a white man and a black man, you
Yeah.
know, black man serving.
And he's like, not many people would have taken me. And he's like, man, I would have taken you, 10 times out of 10.
Right.
Like you saved my ass. I would have met my fate a long time ago.
Right.
And I would have taken you 10 times out of 10.
So yeah, the quote by D.H. Lawrence, the essential American soul is hard, isolate, stoic, and a killer. It has never yet melted.
Yep.
That is some fucking motivating shit right there. That is fucking truth right there.
Well, it rings true if you really boil down like the essential
who we are as a nation.
Well, just not even just the
actually,
nation, just human nature, man. Like
right.
We're built to survive. We're
Right.
built to adapt and we're built to survive. Given like any circumstances that we're faced. That's why we've been able to fucking colonize every single continent.
If you want to succeed, you have to be hard. You have to be tough. You have to be stoic. Otherwise, I don't see how you're really truly going to succeed on a success is something I think is so misled nowadays. People think that having a lot of money in the bank is successful. People associate success with materialism, and that is not success. Success has more to do with mindset and the choices you make and the ability to persevere, in my opinion.
Oh, I absolutely 100% agree, because you can be the most successful person in the world, but if I know, like, given a situation, like if shit hit the fan and I know you weren't going to be able to survive because you're just mentally weak, like I view all your material and all your everything that you've been able to accumulate in your life, I just look at it like, dude, you wasted your fucking life.
Right.
Because you're soft. You know what I mean? Like,
it's the same thing, like materialism. Like, you didn't need all that fancy gear to go camping. You just need minimal shit and you can do it. Like, I know, like, I got a lot of buddies that go hunting. A lot of times they just sleep in the trucks.
Yeah.
Like, why the fuck do you need to, why? Or again, get your sleeping bag, lay it down and sleep underneath your truck in case it starts raining.
Yeah.
Like,
I wish my truck needs to be about 4 inches wider, or I need to be 4 inches shorter, and then I can just sleep on the front bench.
It's one of the many reasons why I'm an advocate of lifted trucks. I can sleep under it just fine.
Yeah.
Can't sit up too quick, but you can roll out from underneath it and then get up.
You ever think about getting an awning mounted on the bed rail?
I've brainstormed all kinds of, like, just thought of weird little things in my head. What about this? What if they made this? What if I talked to someone about making this? And for just basic starters, because my truck, the ATC truck, just the door, how it opens up, that's an awning in itself.
True.
I could just I could open up the door, leave it open, and then, like I said, I could lay on the ground or just put my cot right there next to the truck. Another thing I thought of too is just lay down your tailgate and sleep underneath the tailgate.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You got to be innovative. You got to think outside the box. You don't need to go to the store and buy something. You can lay down your tailgate and then make a lean-to and take your tarp and tie your tarp off to the back of the truck and then stake it down in the ground. And now you made that little lean-to that's a perfect height for a person in a wheelchair. And then you just transfer, your sleeping system down underneath that. And like I said, a tarp costs you what, $15?
Yeah. Go to Home Depot, it's like $10-15.
Right.
For a giant, 8x8.
But again, and this is not to make myself sound like I'm more badass than other people out there, but I feel there's a big part of the reason why me and Jeff are planning on doing this channel. We both love the outdoor. Like, we like doing this kind of stuff. But the reason why we want to do this and show it is because I see a big problem with masculinity in this nation. I see a big problem with men. I think modern men in this country, not all, because they're great men. I've served, serving in the Marine Corps was one of the most amazing things I will ever take with me in my life. Like, it was an honor to meet all the men I met.
You meet some of the coolest fucking people.
Coolest dudes, solid, hardcore motherfuckers. But as a whole, not the Marine Corps, but as a whole, just in general, right now in this 2019, what we got going on. I'm not trying to get too much in politics, but I see a lot of pussies right now.
Oh, dude, there's pussies on both sides, to be honest with you.
Oh, there are.
If we want to get into like a left and right kind of thing.
Oh, no, I'm not even
going
left and right.
There's vaginas on both sides.
It is everywhere, and I see it as a disease, a mental disease, because it's, who is man? What is he meant to be?
Yeah.
And that's why I wanted to bring it. That's why I kind of thought of that quote real quick. Because that means a lot to me, and that's, again, back to what I was trying to say is, that's fine. I have a trailer. I sleep in a trailer. I've done plenty of sleeping in tents. I've also done plenty of sleeping just straight up under the stars.
Yeah.
You know, other than just being in a bag. So, again, people got to get out there and just try stuff.
Do you think that the whole masculinity issue or crisis that we have, is that just because there's just not enough positive like male role models out there anymore?
Boy,
I mean, you think about like who
we're about to go down a real deep rabbit hole.
No, dude.
I'm cool with this. I'm just saying we're getting real far away.
we're both 80s babies. We grew up in the heyday of fucking Chuck Norris and Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sylvester Stallone action movies.
I think about this a lot because it's hard to say it's one thing. Like, we just fix this one thing, it'll make everything better.
Oh no,
life is one complex equation that's constantly changing. There's all kinds of variables. But if I had to kind of say what is the most important, I would say it's leadership. I say there is a significant lack of strong male leaders. And then if I can even kind of dissect that even more, I'd say I fucking hate political correctness with a passion.
Oh, absolutely.
That is fucking, I don't want to go down that hole in this talk, because that literally is a podcast on its own.
Yeah, no, we don't ever really try to delve too deep into politics, but it's one of those things that I always think about, because it's like, you know, when you're like in a wheelchair, you lose a little bit of your masculinity, and it's like that's kind of the initial shock. Is like, you know,
I disagree. I think if you look at the right way, it can help bring it out more.
Well, I mean, okay, so like when you first were initially hurt, I mean, there's no denying that you had questions about your own masculinity, like, how am I ever going to able to, like, you know, protect my family or do this and do that, and like you lose that piece until you figure it out again.
Right. I think what
that's what I was trying to get at, is like,
I think I understand.
It brings up questions about your masculinity.
I understand what you're saying, but I think it's more as like you're just being challenged.
Yeah.
And through challenge comes growth.
I guess a better way to say it is like you question your masculinity and like, are you ever going to be able to do this and things that a man can do? But then it's figuring out like, yeah, I can still fucking do that. I just have to do it a different way.
That's why that's in my opinion, a man has to test himself. Has to. Absolutely. And so I'm not going to try to sound all, I don't care. Honestly, I don't care if I sound arrogant right now. I truly believe a man has to, you don't have to be a hunter, a fisherman, a sportsman. That's fine if you don't care. But you do have to spend some legit time in the wilderness to discover who you are. I think you have to spend some part of your life at some point in the wilderness.
I think we're genetically wired to respond to stressors. And it doesn't necessarily have to be like in the woods, but you have to like be willing to submit yourself to certain stresses to enable that growth.
So,
you know what I mean?
I'm a very spiritual person, and I'm not going to like debate about religion right now. It's fun. It's not what I'm here for. But something I want to bring up when I talk about being in the wilderness because I'm Christian, and there are many people, regardless of what you believe, if you believe in God, if you don't believe in God, fine. But whether you're religious or you're atheist, if you believe in evolution, they all point to one same thing. We were not, yes, the families we were born to, man came from the wild.
Oh, yeah.
Therefore, to find ourselves, we have to go back to it.
Yeah. No, I mean,
and that doesn't change. Whether you believe in the Bible, you believe in the Quran, you believe in Darwinism, guess what? Man came from the earth in the wild. Society, cities are something that we create to make life more comfortable, to make life easier.
Yeah.
And that's why, and I love hearing, like, actually, like, on listen to Meat Eater, and you hear all these hardcore hunters, like guys like Cameron Haynes, talk about how hunting is, like, spiritual for them. Damn straight it is. You know, you're getting back to the root of who you are as a man. And so that's, not to go too far off the rockers, but again, we talk about problems with masculinity and stuff like that. You know, I don't say there's one perfect solution, but I do think a big step forward is more people need to get away from the internet, the cell phones, the TV.
Just all the different screens.
Just all that crap. People need to detox. People need to go out in the woods and just, I mean, don't take anything with you. Like, obviously the gear you need to survive, but don't bring your fucking cell phone.
Yeah.
Don't bring your Game Boy.
Leave the internet at home.
Right. Don't even pull out your phone to listen to a podcast. Go and fast in the wild. You know, detox, figure out life. People need to be comfortable in their own brains and their own minds. And that's why, again, not to go on a tangent, but we're having a lot of mental health issues in this nation right now. Yeah. A lot of people are very uncomfortable in their own minds. And when you're out in the wild, you have to get comfortable.
Yeah. No, I absolutely agree with that. It's, you know, you brought up mental health and how I don't know, like, you'd have to look at the numbers, but it seems like there's a growing population of, especially, like, young kids that are, you know, they have this, like, self-diagnosed anxiety or self-diagnosed depression. And I mean, I'm not a fucking doctor, but in reality, I think it's just they're too plugged in and Absolutely. Looking at, like, they're comparing themselves
to other people's lives,
to the highlights of other people's lives. Because you look at, like, fucking dude, you know
that's
what?
That's the thing with Facebook. All you see are the nobody puts out, hey, look, I just shit myself in the woods today.
Yeah.
You know, like, I'm telling you, everyone said, ooh, look at me, look at my fucking gold star,
dude,
look at my trophy.
A term I just learned, and I'm fucking totally new to, like, social media, and I have to fucking with all these and that, you know, that's how I'm promoting this podcast, is, like, through Instagram and Twitter and all that. But I just learned this term, Instagram influencer. And
I only know that because of my wife.
Yeah, and it's like,
love you, honey.
I was like, wow, these fucking people are actually making a living being a professional Instagrammer. And you look at it, like, the content that they're putting out, you know, you go to these, like, influencers fucking pages, and it's just a catalog of their fucking face that's obviously photoshopped. Obviously, they fucking panned through 100 photos that some poor schmuck had to fucking take. And right. I've seen that. I've been to, like, some of those Instagram hotspots where
my wife loves to show me the shit all the time. I don't.
Dude, just go to Multnomah Falls on a nice sunny day, and you'll be able to spot at least one poor fucking Instagram influencer's boyfriend who is, like, on the floor fucking taking photos, right. You know, at floor level, like a little bitch.
And that shit really, I don't want to say pisses me off, but it really just, like, it does kind of frustrate me in my own mind. It's irritating, and that's their life. If that's how you want to live your life doing, that's fine. But I'm like, you're missing out.
Yeah,
you're
that's
really
the point I'm getting at. Yeah, it's like, dude, you're in one of the most beautiful spots in Oregon.
You know what I love about it's not like going whatever wilderness is, seeing the countryside and stuff, don't take photographs of it. Let it be in your mind. Don't, because when you do is when you whip out your phone, and don't get me wrong, I've taken pictures and I post them on Facebook to show people, but don't get on there to take these pictures, because then all you're doing is now you're just focusing on the me part. Look at me, look what I've done.
Yeah.
Instead of really coming from the right place of trying to act more just like share and encourage.
I like taking the photos for my own memory, and then, you know, cataloging it and then just having kind of like, I'm a kind of a traditionalist where I like having physical photo albums.
Oh, I agree. I like physical media,
but
I don't subscribe to digital media whatsoever.
I'm not the kind of guy who's going to pose, you know, on a hill next to a sunset and make my fucking, you know, my guide take 20, 30 photos while I cycle through my poses.
And your pose on the sun, like, no,
Yeah.
I'm gonna just sit there and enjoy the sunset.
Yeah, that's why I like just more candid photos.
Right.
Where, you know, I'll take a photo of, you know, if you're doing something fucking cool like digging a hole, I'll take a fucking photo of that.
Right.
And just be like,
but no, I'm the same, because don't get me wrong, I take photos too, but I try to take it from a point is to share with my people, friends and like and family, like who wasn't there with me.
Yeah.
Like, hey, look how cool this place was. Come back with me at some point.
Yeah.
I'll take you there at some point.
There's
not like, ooh, look at.
I gotta show you. I just saw this funny video on Reddit. There's a funny subreddit called Instagram reality.
I was gonna say that earlier. My wife showed that.
Did you see the Coachella one?
I tell you right now, I hardly use the internet. I've never used Reddit. But my wife, I know of these things because she's always showing them to me.
There was a funny ass video of this guy taking a video of all the people posing in front of this giant like Ferris wheel at Coachella this year.
Right.
And it's just like people, they look like fucking zombies, like just statues, just fucking standing there holding poses. And then, you know, you see the bitch ass dudes fucking taking photos and shit. And you're just like,
so that's not like.
You're there for a music festival, people. Fucking enjoy it.
I'm very blessed to have grown up in the family I did, and that when we went as a family, as a kid growing up, when we went on vacations, like, we didn't get to go to the fucking amusement park. You know what I mean, we didn't go to the I didn't, you know, I said never been to Hawaii. We went to backwoods Oregon and hiked in somewhere to some lake and fished, and you know. You can't realize the lessons while they're being taught. You don't realize them till they're you don't understand them till later on in life. And now looking at, like, I'm very grateful for having, like, you know, my father taking me out in all these places and pushing me into that environment, because something, again, too, at the same time, I didn't realize, and not to go off on another tangent, but to this day, I played a lot of video games growing up in the Marine Corps too. You sit around the barracks, need something to do. I fucking hate video games with a passion now when I see how much they destroy a man's soul.
Dude, I haven't. The last video game I really got deep into was like, not even deep, but like even just interested in was Call of Duty 4.
Yeah.
And after that, I was just like, yeah, I'm done. Like,
I'm using this example. Where I'm trying to go with this is like, when you're away from society, you're away from electronics, you're away from all those other like little notifications, all those things that give you that dopamine release in your brain.
Yeah, and that's what it is, dude. When your phone goes off,
and you detox in the woods. I remember as a kid, it's like you're always like as a kid, because I knew I had all these things, these toys, these things waiting for me at home, you know. So you're excited, oh, I'm finally going home now. But I didn't realize like that depression sits back in when you get home. And realize just like how cleansing it is, like mentally and spiritually, to like be away from that stuff.
Oh yeah.
To be in the woods. And now it's like, now that I turned 30, like I'm finally understanding these deeper lessons that I couldn't understand when I was a kid, you know? And just like realizing, like, I joke with Jeff, like I came home from my hunting trip, and I love my wife, and I was happy to see my wife again. I was happy to see my dogs again, but I was like, man, I wish I could have just stayed out there.
Yeah.
You know, What, do I really have to come home?
I get that same feeling. Last year I was fortunate enough to travel to a bunch of different countries, but getting out of it's what I call like the first world bubble.
Right.
And like last year I went to Thailand, Laos, Cambodia,
Right.
and like some of the places we went to out in Cambodia was just so remote, where they barely had electricity,
Right.
didn't have running water, and it was like getting out of that like first world bubble where you're living in this like safety net with like Wi-Fi and just all the conveniences of just electronics, and just
Like
getting back out to just
basic
remote
living,
villages where you have villages that are just 100 people, everybody fucking has a purpose.
Right.
You get your food from a certain farmer here. You trade fucking vegetables for some chicken over here,
Right.
and you just fucking
No, I agree. I haven't been to, the only foreign country I've been to is Japan, during my enlistment, stationed there in Okinawa. But no, I loved my time being overseas, seeing, different culture. But I totally get what you're saying. And that's, again, the best way I feel like we can replicate that is by, again, going out to the wilderness, go camping or something.
yeah.
Because it's like we have all these things, all these luxuries that are so nice. The fact that we have computers and we have televisions and we have air conditioning and we have a fucking hot water heater, so we can be comfortable in the
Don't get me
shower.
wrong, I love all that shit.
It's comforting, but it's like to ask like yes, it's comforting, but to ask like a really, really deep level, not only do we need this, but is this actually making life better? Because I don't think it is.
Yeah.
It's cool. Like, I do like getting on YouTube and seeing like people try all these like different things and like these weird like ways of thinking, and like I've seen like watching this stuff about these guys who take like ice baths. I can't say that. Ice baths.
Ice baths.
Yeah, ice baths. So you say it. But like bathing in like cold ass water and shit, and everyone's like, "You're crazy. Like, why would you do that?" And I was like, man, there's something to that people don't understand about like returning to who we are as humans. Like mankind came from the wild. There ain't no fucking hot water heaters out there.
Yeah. That's I do
society makes us pussies.
I do after I work out, I do a hot cold shower where it's like a contrast shower.
Oh yeah, I hear that's good.
Oh fuck, it's great.
That's why they have icy hot, hot than cold.
Yeah. So I mean, I what I do is I start off hot, and clean up, body wash and all that, and then after I finish all that, I switch it all the way to cold, and I grab the shower wand, and I frickin' just hit every part of my body with cold water for 2 minutes. Then you flip it back to tolerable hot.
Right.
And then I cycle through that minimum 3 times between a hot and a cold.
I'll have to try it because I've been actually might just start doing the cold showers thing. I've been looking into.
Dude, once you get past the initial fucking, then you're fine.
Exactly,
like your body adapts.
And that's like, go back to saying is like, I think society itself is what's creating pussies, because don't get me wrong, comforts are nice. We all enjoy them. That's where comfort comes from. But it's like, you can't understand comfort without understanding discomfort.
I think it's, dude, one of the biggest problems is just that a lot of guys are just afraid to challenge themselves, and a lot of guys are just afraid to fail, and there's no like rite of passage anymore. Like there used to be like a rite of passage. Like,
I love that shit. Like we had that in the Marine Corps.
Yeah.
And same thing, like I was like reading somewhere about like in the Native American cultures, like their rituals and rites of passage.
Yeah, you would have to leave.
You had to prove yourself.
Yeah,
as a
you'd
man.
have to leave the tribe or the village and fucking go off in the woods
By
for
yourself,
7 days or whatever.
Go hunt something. Exactly.
Maybe go trip on some peyote and fucking come back. But you had a structured rite of passage that every male
Understand.
there
was a standard.
Yeah, exactly.
There was a standard that everybody respected.
I don't know.
Do we have one in society? I don't think we do.
Yeah.
You know, I know we don't. You know, I mean, I love America, the idea of freedom, but yeah, no, I can see it as an issue. And again, leads back to one of the reasons why me and Jeff are going to be doing our channel. It's not saying to look at me. It's saying, if I in a wheelchair can do this, you people can do so much more than me. Because I tell you right now, I can't keep up with an able-bodied person. We can't, you know?
Yeah.
So why aren't other people? Everyone's capable. Why aren't you doing shit?
Yeah. No, I 100% agree. It's just like you.
Sometimes the best way to teach a kid how to swim is to just push him off the diving board. Because that's maybe not. Because I know a guy that he shared this story with me. I'm not gonna name him, but he shared this story about him being like an 8-year-old just afraid of death of the water, and his dad fucking picked him up and threw him in the water, and he fucking has like severe PTSD of water now. But I mean, I don't know. My dad did not that with the water, but he did a similar thing to me, and it fucking changed me. Again, this is back at my favorite place in Norway, Strawberry Lake, but it's a pretty big lake, and I was just up there. I was a young boy. I don't remember how old I was, but I'm still in elementary school, so I don't think I was much past 10 years old, and I don't know. I think now maybe my dad was just kind of getting pissed off at me, or just like quit being a pussy or something. I don't know. But he said he left something forgot something back at the other side of the lake. And if anybody knows the Strawberry Lake, it's a pretty good sized lake. So to hike around, go back around the lake to the completely opposite side, and then hike back around. My dad left me alone out there for about 3. It couldn't have been that long, 2-3 hours. But when you're 10 years old in the wilderness by yourself without a gun, it felt like an eternity.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I remember the whole time I'm coming up with like contingency plans in my mind of like, if I see a mountain lion come out of the woods or a bear, I'm just going straight into the water. I'm just swimming out to the middle of the lake to get away from him. Like, that's all I could think of. I was like, what if some mountain lion comes out and tries to eat? Like, all these little things, your thoughts either go to your head as a kid who's not, you're not experienced. But I just bring that up because, like, my dad did stuff like that to me all the time and just like forced me into the situation.
Well, yeah, he presented those challenges.
And you look at it too, like anybody who's gone through the military and boot camp, and especially we're going to talk about the Marine Corps, as like.
I mean, I can't speak for the other branches, but
I can't. But I can speak from like what me and you went through, and the different training evolutions of the Marine Corps. It's like. There's a reason why it's made to be stressful, why it's scary, and they force you into those situations. Yeah. Because that's the only way you're going to build confidence.
And it's also why on day one, they take your fucking cell phone from you. Right. And they completely unplug you from the real world.
Exactly.
They say, hey, you don't need all that shit.
Yeah, exactly. You're not part of that anymore. You're part of us, But boot camp is like you get training, but it's really just a big hazing.
That's what it was. I mean, that's how I've always compared it. It's just like
you learn some stuff.
You learn the basic shit of like how to
military life,
how to function. Yeah, how to really set up your uniform. You spend most of your time drilling.
Right.
And
I mean, there's all kinds of things like you're being instilled discipline,
teamwork,
like a lot of great things. But in reality, I mean, if people want to compare it, like it's just a big haze fest.
It's your initiation to see if you make the cut.
Right, and I say that in actually a very loving way because I think that's what's needed. I hate when people talk about like hazing's a bad thing. I completely disagree.
It's hazing, and when you use that term, if it's strictly hazing, completely fine with it. If it turns into like the bullying where you're just doing it to just fucking be an asshole, there's no lesson behind it, that's no longer hazing.
So let's compare let's compare that hunting about trophy hunting, because this is something I'm completely fine with, and so many people are just like so unknowledgeable. The term trophy hunting gets a bad rap because people think you're just going out and murdering animals left and right. Yeah. And that's not what it is. It's like, no, I'm here because I eat venison. I like to eat game. I'm going to stock my freezer with this. But why not get the beautifulest, biggest rack elk out there than take the one that just the spike?
Well, that's one of the big misconceptions about like every few years you always see that picture of like that chick. Who's that chick on fucking Instagram that like killed that giraffe not that long ago? It was a couple years ago.
Oh, I think it's Jim Shockey's daughter, Eva Shockey.
Probably. But, she gets a kind of a bad rap because she's posing with a dead giraffe. And a giraffe is just this beautiful, docile creature. That's what we think of.
All the creatures are beautiful.
But in reality, that giraffe was an alpha male that was well past its breeding time, but it didn't want to hand over the reins to the kingdom. Still wanted to fuck the other female giraffes. So what it was doing, it was fucking up and killing all the other, male giraffes in that pack.
People are really quick to jump the gun and
well, yeah, when you look at a fucking giraffe and you're just like, oh, those things are so peaceful, and it's the mascot for Toys R Us.
I wish
it's just this big.
Right.
Disney really fucked up a lot of kids and portrayed animals in a way where it's like.
Ranella talks about this shit all the time he specifically talks about bears a lot.
Oh yeah.
How like the idea of teddy bears are just fucking retarded. These bears are these little cuddly animals. The motherfucker, like a grizzly bear, can take a human head off with a swipe of his paw.
And they're cannibals. I mean, they eat their own. Like,
have you seen? I heard about this too from Manella, but that video on YouTube about the grizzly bear who finds the black bear den and he digs it out and just kills the mom bear and cub. Like you can hear the cubs screaming and shit.
Oh yeah, I've heard of this video.
And there's a grizzly bear. He don't give a fuck, and he just pissed. And he just kills that sow.
That's the thing people don't realize about fucking bears, man. Like
you don't say about nature.
Yeah. Well, I mean, just bears specifically, dude. A bear is an apex predator that's gonna fucking.
But yet they're so majestic. They're cool.
Yeah, they're cuddly. They're cuddly.
I respect them.
You have to.
Exactly, because you're retarded not to. And so to go back to this, like you were talking about the giraffe thing. I really wish more people would. I'm not going to get political and talk about sides. We're talking about hunting right now, but anti-hunters, I feel, are very close-minded. Because I feel like they won't try. They're just always save the animals, blah, 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 this and that. And it's like, first off, if you eat meat, but you're anti-hunting, go fuck yourself. Number two, it's at least try to gain another perspective. I wish, again, I'm not one to sit here and talk about this, but go listen to the Meat Eater podcast. Open up your mind. He had some great stuff talking about people hunting elephants in Africa and talking about, and people just think, again, it gets such a bad rap because people associate it with poachers and ivory tusks. That's all that goes through people's minds is, oh, they just want the tusk. They just want the ivory. Because they're poachers. And when we see we see on social media a lot of these, because most of us can't afford to do that, but these wealthy people go and hunt in Africa.
Yeah, that's the point I was trying to make with the giraffe. Was
and it's
they had to pay. I think it was $100,000 for the tag.
First off, and I learned all this, and it opened my mind perspective to that. Because I was never against that before it. I would just wanted to learn more about it. First off, they pay a fat price to get over there. Guess where that money's going? Their economy in Africa. They're poor as fuck over there.
Yeah.
That's helping their economy. Two, guess what? Well, actually, before I get to two, because it's really important. Actually, I'll call that three. But two is a lot of these. Conservation is conservation. Wildlife populations have to be managed. Sorry, it has to be. And then third, guess what? I don't remember the specific example, but we're talking about this example he was talking about with hunting the elephant. You know how much meat that provided to the local tribes there? They give all that meat to the people to eat. You ain't hauling that fucking meat back home. I don't even know what the laws are. U.S. probably wouldn't allow you to bring the meat back to the United States.
And then the thing is,
they fed fucking villages.
If you're not getting the conservation money from selling those tags and stuff, you're still, there's Chinese businessmen that are going to pay a local poacher $200-$300 to just fucking kill that animal, waste all that meat, and just use the ivory.
Yeah, there's like...
so not only are you not going to get that money, like you're going to lose the meat, you're going to lose the animal.
It's going to waste.
Yeah.
It's going to waste. The local village, a lot of villages like that, and over there in Africa, some of these very small, very poor villages, their main source of income was American, or not just American, any wealthy hunter around the world coming in and hunting in their village, because that's how the only way they could afford to support everybody was dudes coming in and dropping fat coin to come over and hunt a fucking elephant. And then let's talk about the amount of meat on an elephant. Like, that is a shitload of food.
Yeah, what's an elephant weigh? Like,
I don't know. You're gonna have to look it up.
More than 8,000 pounds, I'd guess.
I mean, you look like, because I eat both deer and I love elk. Is obvious. I like elk a lot better than deer, and I think most hunters would agree that. But you look at a deer, you can go like the deer I shot this last year in Georgia was barely over 100 pounds.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, my Rottweiler weighs more than
I think I only got like 95, 98 pounds of meat.
Yeah. And that's a lot.
Yeah.
That's still a lot for, like, it's a good sized deer.
Oh, it lasts me a while.
And then you look at like an elk, where this damn elk could be anywhere from 600 to upwards of 1,000 pounds, like a massive branch bull. That's a lot of good meat. All right. Talk about elk hunting here in the U.S. Like, again, we'll say like a nice 700-800 pound bull.
Easily. Yeah.
Compared to a fucking elephant. You know how much meat that is for people to sustain and continue living life? Hello, people. It's the circle of life.
Yeah.
Go back and watch the fucking Lion King.
Right, yeah. Just don't fall in love with...
just don't fall in love with that lion, because that lion will fucking chew your fucking head off. Oregon, this year, a couple months ago, I had our first ever recorded mountain lion human death from a mountain lion attack.
Oh, dude, I didn't even hear about that.
And Washington had their first as well a month before. Washington.
Where was the one in Oregon?
Oh, boy. I'm going to have to look it up. I don't remember where it was.
Was it like southern or eastern? Or was it like around here?
No, it wasn't near the city. I honestly cannot remember.
Fuck, we're going to have to look that up.
Yeah, you're going to have to look it up. But this past year, Oregon had their first recorded in the state's history of a person actually being killed by a lion. And that's recorded. I mean, yeah.
Not gonna lie though, man. Like, if you had to pick a fucking early death, I would take that over a car accident or anything else. Like, just
a lion.
Oh, I mean, just
like an animal.
Or an animal. That doesn't necessarily have to be a lion. It could be a fucking.
Sure. You want a bear? Have you seen the bear?
It would. I mean, I'm not gonna be able to fucking obviously choose the way.
No, but we're talking hypothetical. If you could choose.
If I had a knife, I would. I'd go out swinging against a bear.
I'd rather take.
Hopefully they find me fucking dead next to it.
I would take a fucking cougar any day of the week over a bear, because bears are aggressive. Like, don't get me wrong, like, bears are scared just as much as people.
Well, they'll eat you alive too.
Them. But the problem is, lions get you from behind. They suffocate you.
Yeah.
They're hunters.
Well,
bears are just brutal. They're gonna take you down.
Oh, well, a lion's gonna try to bite at your neck and paw at your.
But a lion's gonna come at you from behind. Yeah.
Where a bear's just gonna use its size.
Because I heard a story a couple years ago when I was at the VA, I don't remember. I was in there for some procedure or something. And one of the nurses was talking to me, and she's like, "Did you just hear about that story?" And she's like, "Oh, you're a Marine." And I was like, "You were in the Marines?" I was like, "Yeah." And she was telling me, "Oh, did you hear that story?" I think it was it not Mount Talbert? somewhere there in the city, some former female Marine fought off a mountain lion with her bicycle.
Yeah.
And I was like, fucking,
That'd be the way to do it.
that's the good shit right there.
Well, they had that dude that they made kind of a hero for a while in Colorado that killed the mountain lion, but it turned out the mountain lion was only like a 30-pound cub that had like been separated from its mother, and it was just fucking lost. And this poor guy fucking.
That's like taking it down a really, really, really fat house cat.
Just a fat, yeah.
You got scratched up.
I bet you that little mountain lion was just like looking for help, or it was just hungry or thirsty, and this fucking poor guy just freaked out and just fucking strangled it to death.
I'm sorry, I'm laughing. I don't feel sorry at all.
Oh, he still got fucked up too.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's like, there's people out there probably think I'm horrible for this guy strangling a fucking lion, but it's like, it's a fucking lion.
Yeah.
Like, shit happens. Like, you put yourself in the same
It
situation.
was
what you would have done.
It was a baby lion, but
I still thought it's funny because we all thought it was like real cool. Like, this motherfucker killed the lion.
Yeah, I was like,
with his
holy
hand.
shit! Like, this badass dude, fucking, I turned that thing into a coat, and still would turn it into a coat.
Oh hell,
But
I totally would. I would wear it around the house.
But let's not fucking blow and turn it into a fishtail. Like you killed the little baby mountain lion.
Right, yeah, that's what I was hearing too. Like, as more light comes to the story, it's like, this was not a full-grown lion.
Yeah, but whatever. I mean,
right.
I'm sure by the time it reaches his great grandkids, they're gonna be like, yeah, man, this cat was like 250 pounds, fucking claws the size of,
Power of myth. It's like, I always compare that to the little kids game. You play as kids, a little telephone game.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's how it begins, man. Legends and fucking stories and shit.
This one time when I was in the woods.
This one time at boot camp.
Yep.
All right, man. I'm fucking getting hungry talking about all this meat and shit.
Right.
We're almost at about 3 hours, dude. That fucking went by quick.
Damn, that was.
Dude, thanks for coming on, man.
Yep, no
Well, I definitely want to get you and Jeff on as like a recurring guest, because it seems like, we don't really get to see each other a whole lot, but every couple months or so, I mean, we're always just doing cool shit. Like,
You gotta come out in the woods.
Oh, dude, that's definitely gonna happen.
We
Yeah.
need to like actually like plan a trip. Are you gonna be around in town?
Yeah, dude. My summer's pretty much kind of opened up quite a bit.
Do you want to do straight up like hardcore, like bare minimum essentials, or you gonna just like do tent camping, or just like take the trailer out to some bumfuck nowhere?
Oh, we don't have to take the trailer out, dude.
Your
No.
tent? Just go pick up a cheap little tent from the store.
Yeah, I'd be down. Do that. Probably just have to pick up a cheap little tent, a cot.
Let's do it.
And then just pack out the track chair.
Right.
And just fucking do what we do.
Definitely. Let's plan it. Let's do one here this summer.
Sounds good, man. Hey, dude, thanks for coming on the show, man.
Yeah,
We'll have
problem.
to do this again soon.
Yeah, definitely.
Right on. We'll see y'all later.